KMOX HD2 Sacramento. Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sacktown Sports.
It's time. It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. We have made it to Friday. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Friday fun and games. A little bit of controversy, but we're going to keep the fun going here and get everyone up to the weekend. A little bit of news. We will tie a bow on the Sasha Vezenkov situation and why it was kind of a bad situation for the Kings, as if you didn't already know. Some drama with the Mason Miller injury. You had his camp saying one thing, Martin Gallegos of MLB.com reporting something, and then they had to retract based on what he said. So we will explain all of that. The Olympics are already underway, but the opening ceremony is going on, I believe, right now. So we'll kind of preview everything on the Olympics. And we will finally, after all this time, Chris, after all that, and Whitey Gleason continuing to say, hey, you should do this segment. You should do this segment. Today on a Friday on July 26th, the first edition of What Are We Doing? And if you are a Raider fan, I don't know if you're going to like it. What are we doing? Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, trying to figure out what we're doing here. Excited for the Friday show. Got a big weekend ahead of us, and yeah, just excited to get this Olympics going. I love the Olympics, and can't wait for all the track events and all the swimming events. And I know we're going to talk about that a bit later, but just overall excited for this thing to finally get underway.
Olympics in the first hour as we get you ready with the opening ceremonies going on right now. Also, we will get into why nothing is happening. That meme, Chris. Hey, do something with the stick.
Yes.
So we get into that with the NBA. And also, you know who is doing something? The Seattle Mariners trading for Kyle Ledbetter's favorite player, Randy Arozarena.
No, you forgot the role in the Randy.
Oh, in the Randy.
Who is Randy?
There's three roles.
Randy Arozarena.
There you go. Nicely done. So who did the Rays get back for Randy Arozarena, as Randy Arozarena had a bit of a slower start to the season, but he's heating up. And when you hear these numbers for Randy Arozarena's postseason, maybe that will cue you in on why the Mariners were interested. But we begin here, Chris, with DeMar DeRozan, who did an exclusive sit down with Jason Anderson of the Sacramento Bee, friend of the show. And I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say confused, but he was asked again about the Kendrick Lamar Drake situation with New Music Friday coming out. We won't have fun with the random artist that came out today, but that was a good time last Friday. Nate's upset. Maybe we'll sneak to it if we have time. But DeMar DeRozan says he still considers Drake a friend. And I haven't been a part of a lot of beefs, but I'm trying to figure out if this is okay with you. I guess it's a version of fair or foul. He says, Drake's, and obviously he was asked by Sean Cunningham about the situation. He says Kendrick is like family, right? And you know, in sports talk radio earlier on in the week, Dave talked about we had a consultant. It's kind of tough in sports talk radio to fence sit. You need to have an opinion, right? But that's us. DeMar DeRozan is not in sports talk radio, at least not yet. Maybe he's got a podcast on the way. He's got dinner with DeMar, so maybe that's on the way too. So maybe they're allowed to fence it. And that's what I think is a little bit of what's going on here. Okay, this is what he says. Drake's still my man. None of it changed. It's so easy to get overlooked and look at it for what it looks like. But at the end of the day, it's music, entertainment. Two of the biggest rappers in the world went at it from a competitive standpoint, and they battled it out. That's what you want to see as a fan. Kobe playing Michael one-on-one and see who wins. See the trash talking, and whoever wins out of that, you're still going to have the debate. So that's all it is. I'll put it to you like this. I'm not necessarily against what DeMar DeRozan is saying. I think the problem is there were some real deal accusations thrown around by Kendrick, which to be honest with you, the whole not like us thing, I saw something, I think it was a choir, possibly I think it was in Africa or something like that. And they were singing not like us. And I'm thinking, this is kind of crazy because of the words that are in, I mean, certified, we know the words. You got, I don't know if they bleeped it out. I didn't watch it. But there you go. Thank you, Nate.
Nothing like us.
But these are real deal accusations. I mean, I guess it's a situation where, were you just saying it? Are they real accusations, or were they, if I call you stupid, Chris, and I know you're not stupid, but we're in the heat of it. We're not stupid, but we're in the heat of it. Is that what it is? Or are there real accusations? Because if they're real accusations, how can you just be cool? I'm confused a little bit, Chris.
I mean, I would just guess that maybe they are just accusations, and maybe they all know it. Like, maybe that this is an inside and outside conversation, and those that are inside the know probably say, hey, we know this is all just wild accusations being thrown out there, and this is all part of the sport, and, we can't take it too seriously, and, whatever. I mean, we're talking about, celebrities, they got some loose morals, like I see people partying at Diddy's house all the time.
Yeah, Chris Brown was dancing on the 50-foot bed. Did you see that?
I sure did. I sure did see it. I'm not saying DeMar has loose morals or anything like that, but I just think sometimes these guys might have a better understanding really of what it is, like I think that inside the industry, maybe there's just a different understanding that this is all for fun and games and nothing said is super serious or should be taken with a grain of salt, because, just because it's the court of public opinion doesn't necessarily mean that it's 100% true. And that would just be my guess, is that DeMar is giving him the benefit of the doubt. But even then, I think a bit of the Drake and DeMar relationship has probably been overblown as well. I mean, if he calls Kendrick family, I know he's never called Drake family. And if he is, it's more in a sense of, that dude is definitely just there for me when he was in Toronto. And I'm pretty sure that's really all it was, is that when DeMar was with the Raptors, Drake, that's kind of when he really started to attach himself with the Raptors. And then, of course, they win immediately after DeMar leaves. I kind of think that it's no more than just they were friendly when DeMar was in Toronto, and now that he's not, I'm sure that relationship is not the same that it used to. And Kendrick and DeMar are both from Compton. I don't know if they share the same neighborhoods or anything like that, but I would assume that there's definitely like an actual real life relationship between those two. And maybe with Drake, it was just we were homies when I lived there, but now that I moved towns, we don't really talk like that unless we cross circles, and there's no reason to have fade. So maybe it's more of just, hey, if I see him, it's cool. But like, you're not going to catch me dead out here taking Instagram pictures with him or anything like that.
And the other thing is, Drake is a front runner. So once DeMar went to Chicago, or went to San Antonio, and then went to Chicago and wasn't really at the forefront, he can't do anything for Drake anyway.
No,
Drake, I want winners. That's who Drake is. He rides with.
He started rocking with Frederico.
Exactly,
Mr. Fred Van
Vliet, because he was hot in the streets, and that's what Drake does. Have there been any situations where you've been caught in the middle and it's, hey, I don't really want to be a part of this? I'll never forget, I got into it was the Walnut Festival in Walnut Creek. And it was, where all beef started. And it was, 7th grade, 8th grade love, and I got caught in the middle.
That's
and
a triangle.
I'm not saying they were fighting over me, but I had to find a way to, hey, we're all good here.
Hey, there's enough there's
enough sizzle for everybody around. I'm trying to think, as I got older, though, there's definitely, and if they're listening right now, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
I really hope they are.
There are two guys
I thought you were talking about the girls back in the house. I really hope they're listening.
No.
Like, this man thinks we were fighting over him?
Well, maybe. Who knows? But there was a situation where I had teammates, and I was really close.
Right. Bad teammate. Right.
I was good teammates to them. And they just don't like each other. And I'm close with both of them.
That's the worst.
And I have to hear, I've tried to unify them on the golf course. Right. I've tried, Chris, and it just doesn't work out. And it's, hey, are we, and they'll talk trash about the other one to me. And I just say, hey,
that's terrible.
I'm not really a part of this. Right. But that's the only thing I could think of. Have you ever been caught in the middle of a situation?
Not exactly like that. Usually I'm on the outside looking in of that kind of situation, but I mean, I have kind of been the friend adjacent of somebody who's kind of telling me about all of these situations, and I know all parties involved, and it's the worst. I mean, that's, it's not fun. And, you inevitably, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't usually like to pick sides. I usually will have my own opinion on a situation, but I won't. If I'm better friends with somebody, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm just going to agree with them. And a lot of times that can lead to just, more mess. So it's just worse when you're in that kind of triangle. It's no bueno. So how did yours ever get resolved?
No. They
just
still talk trash to one another, and it's you get through it. I stopped trying to do the golf hangouts and things like that.
Yeah.
We got through the wedding. That was great. They were both there for the wedding. Right. And that was about it. That was the swan song.
That's a huge test. That's all you needed.
I just come on. Don't mess this up for me. I got a lot on the line here. And we have a lot coming up for you as well. Like we talked about, drama with the Mason Miller injury, more Sasha drama as well. The Olympics are starting, and of course, we will have What Are We Doing later in the show. But first, when we return, why is nobody in the NBA doing anything? Let's discuss and let's figure it out together. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the ad.
Or the headlines of the Olympics, and we have a little bit of fun with some of the more random, the power walking and things like that. That's coming up at 10:30. But first, Chris, I ask you the question. You are the basketball. You are the NBA savant here. Okay, Chris brings the X and O's. I bring the Jimmy and the Joes. Sometimes we switch it up. All right, Chris, why is nobody doing anything?
The Olympics. No, I don't know. I think that everybody just kind of got their work done early, and it's just, I can't really answer why they specifically aren't making moves right now, why it is quiet. Maybe it seriously is because of the Olympics with, Summer League. I think it could also just be these guys need a break too. I mean, the GMs themselves, they have to.
But they don't get a break.
Why not? It's the off season, and Summer League is passed. You already did all the work. You had to do all this work to get draft guys and bring guys in and get scouting reports on everybody. I think it's okay for them to get a month off as long as they're obviously are still having plans to do things moving forward. I'm sure they're still in communication. It's just they don't show up to the office every day and hit the pavement running and all that stuff. I would assume that it'll pick up sometime. I think rumors will start to pick up maybe in the middle of the month, and then there'll be a couple more things that happen. But the same kind of thing happened last year with Damian Lillard, where it was an inevitability that he was going to get traded, and he didn't get traded until like a week before training camp. So I just say that to say things might be calm now, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. It just means there's a little bit of quiet. And then I think things are going to ramp up whenever it is that these guys head back into the office. But if I had to imagine, it's just a little vacation. If I had to assume,
they're humans too.
Yeah, they gotta take some time away from basketball and enjoy their families, because I can't imagine during draft time, and especially during the playoffs, if you're in it, you're not doing anything but grinding.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think what's also interesting is everything happened so early.
That too,
like you said,
right, yeah.
It was so hot. I mean, if everybody keeps saying, why isn't anything happening? What
already
more
happened.
is supposed to happen, to be
Right,
fair?
that's the
Paul
question,
George
right?
has already, your Damian Lillard shout is a great one, because that one took a long time.
Took forever.
Paul George, it was quick. Malik Monk
happened
that
before
was,
it even started.
That was quick. Who else was out there? The big name.
The big ones. I mean, Harden re-signed.
Right.
That was no
Siakam.
no big
We
news.
knew
Siakam, right.
OG Anunoby. That was fake.
Pump fake. Yep.
Yeah. So
Mikal, the biggest
Bridges.
trade
That one happened
first, right?
Yeah.
And then you had the Caruso trade happen,
Right.
like out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
That was yeah, maybe it's just that it really could just be all of the names that we were told are supposed to get traded never got traded, right?
Yeah.
Like we spent so
Brandon
much time.
Ingram and DeJounte Murray.
I just forgot about DeJounte. Yeah,
Right.
like DeJounte's just complete. Like anytime someone's like, "What happened? What happened?"
Yeah.
You say DeJounte Murray, and they're like, "I forgot that happened." That's how much stuff happened that we were able to forget a big move like that.
I think this offseason way better than last offseason. I can't even remember the big one. Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson gets a new team.
Right.
What are we
and people
talking
are saying, what are you not entertained?
Yeah.
What else do you want?
Draymond Green last offseason re-signed day one. I think he was the first signing. I literally think he was the first signing of the offseason. So I don't know what people necessarily expected. Again, maybe I'll just hypothesize that it's people were assuming Kyle Kuzma, Jeremy Grant, Zach LaVine, Mallory Markkanen, like you said, Brandon Ingram, all these guys are getting traded. And I think it just ended up being that, well, one of them got traded, and Mikal Bridges was a surprise trade. So far, exactly. Very, very key to say so far, because we're only a month into the offseason.
Hartenstein
move. Right. Yeah, exactly. Hartenstein moves for big money. I don't know what people want. I really don't know what the people want.
If you think about it, this was quietly, and I say quietly in air quotes, this is quietly one of the craziest off seasons.
You know what it was,
will.
Alan? I just figured it out. What? The Lakers didn't make any moves.
Oh,
so
that's
nothing
right.
happened.
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing happened because the Lakers didn't do anything. I mean, even the Warriors did something. They lost Klay Thompson technically. So yeah, I can't understand what it is except for your favorite big market team didn't make a move, because you know what? The Knicks made a big move again. They get Mikal Bridges. I wouldn't call the Miami Heat like the biggest team market, but they didn't necessarily do anything either. The Celtics didn't. Like I don't. Those are the only three teams, the big teams, that didn't really lose or gain anything. But you know, the Nuggets, not enough is talked about. They lose KCP. How are they going to replace that? I don't like. That's a really big storyline that the defending champs, the team that you correctly, I think it's looking better and better every day, said, I don't know if this is a dynasty.
Right.
They were signed up to just be, no, watch out for the Nuggets. They're going to be a contender year over year over year. They lose a huge piece. Minnesota Timberwolves, number 2 seed. They get Rob Dillingham.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
The number 1 seed gets Alex Caruso, a good defense, gets even better. They then get Isaiah Hartenstein. What are we talking about? Nothing happened. I mean, and it's not. I'm not saying what are we talking about, because it's an internet narrative. There's tons of people who said, "Why is the offseason so quiet?"
Yeah,
Adam Silver got asked,
had to defend it.
What's wrong with this offseason? And poor Adam. I shouldn't say poor Adam Silver. Adam Silver had to say, "I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think there's been plenty of moves." And it is, I mean, you know,
they were blaming it on the CBA.
Trying to blame it on the CBA, which I get. I mean, that's the reason why some teams have been a little bit more hesitant to just go out and be aggressive. And, you know, probably in a previous life, the Warriors just say, yeah, forget it. We'll trade you whatever, and just onboard some salary because we want to be good. But people are afraid to make those big swings. Maybe Zach LaVine gets moved in a pre-CBA universe because the Lakers would be more willing to take on that risk. I mean, my guess would just be that the names that everyone felt promised would move didn't move. And for whatever reason, people want that sense of completion, but that's stupid because there's so many other moves that happened that we didn't see coming and weren't prepared for. So I think it's just a matter of people were surprised and didn't have enough time to properly get excited for a move and then get the result of seeing it happen. I think it's just the Mikal Bridges trade happens out of nowhere. The Alex Caruso trade happens. No one even knew he was on the trade block. DeMar DeRozan switches teams. I don't think anybody until a couple days before he changes teams, people didn't even know he wanted to switch teams. So I think it's just a lot of surprise and even DeJounte. Again, DeJounte just slides under the radar and no one really even mentioned it. I just think that it's a lot of things that people were prepared to happen didn't happen. And I guess it's as simple as that.
By the way, friend of the show, Jovan Buha, the Lakers are looking to trade D'Angelo Russell. Jovan, I love you. Yeah. We know.
We've known. We know. We've been known.
Yes, we know. We know.
Yeah.
Everybody knows besides D'Lo, apparently.
So much so that he had to release it again.
Yes, exactly.
Like, hey, just so you know.
Right.
In case everyone thought that this was something different, he's available still.
Right.
Come on.
So, yeah, that whole situation, it kind of is what it is, and we're waiting for the next shoe to drop. And speaking of, Chris, as we await the next shoe to drop, if you were to guess, let's go back and forth, me and you, who will be the next quote unquote big move? Obviously, you can guess marketing, you can guess Kuzma, you can guess Jeremy, you can guess other. And I got something for you. Ooh. It's not going to be the norm, but I want to hear your answer.
I like
first.
That a lot. I'm going to say marketing. I'm going to say marketing gets moved.
That's
just feels
the
like
answer.
All sides need to part ways.
It feels like they're one step away from where the Kings were with DeRozan, where there was so much coming out. Next thing you know, he was in the building.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just feel like that's just going to happen one of these days.
I actually don't. I should look up if Lauri Markkanen's in the Olympics. I don't know if I
saw a video of him shooting, and I mean, the guy can score the basketball. I feel like we would have seen more content.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I know he's from Finland.
Maybe they didn't make it in.
Yeah.
I would say, Chris, that my guess, I'm going to go random here.
He will not be in the Olympics.
Okay. Yeah. Good for him. I mean, it's probably better for him, to be honest.
Oh, wait. No, they are in the Olympics.
Well, they are.
It's time now for Finland to end the Olympic dry spell. Oh, well, hold on. This is last year. I'll figure it out later.
Okay. I'm going with Trae Young.
Wow. I love that.
I think it's going to be Trae Young out of nowhere. And it might be the Lakers. If you're the Hawks, you want somebody to cook. What is it? Jalen Johnson is the only safe one. There could be something there with hey, the Lakers get Trae Young, D'Angelo Russell gets to go to Atlanta, hang out with Quavo, and just shoot the basketball. Just shoot the basketball. And Atlanta's a situation where, hey, you can cook D'Lo. We're probably still gonna lose. So everybody wins.
The Lakers, except for me. I don't. Well, I guess he's a really, really bad defender.
Who, Trae Young?
Yeah, I just don't want to see him on the Lakers.
I think it's going to be Trae Young.
That's a great call.
I think it's Trae Young for D'Angelo Russell, and maybe the Lakers have to sweeten the deal for the Hawks. Yeah. But the Hawks just sit there and say, D'Lo can cook. We'll pay him. He'll get some butts in the seats.
Yeah.
He'll have a couple random nights.
Sure
He'll hang out with Quavo, like I said, and ultimately they will still be somewhere near the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. So everybody wins.
Yeah, no, that really does sound like a win-win for me. Atlanta's got to try and figure out what exactly they want for Trae. Like, are they willing to kind of sacrifice a good bid, or is Trae still kind of getting those superstar market like value-wise? You know, is Trae Young going to cost multiple picks? Because I think that he's definitely somebody who, you know, I've talked about him maybe being traded for Cat and stuff. I think he has a good bit of value, but, you know, I don't know how many teams are going to willingly sign up, and the Lakers feel like the perfect amount of desperate to make that kind of move and just kind of do whatever it takes to maximize this window. I think that's a great shout, and I think you're right. Like, it makes perfect sense for all parties involved, because what is Atlanta doing? They're, again, one of our teams that we just
I can't wait for that list next week.
What are these guys?
Yeah.
What the hell are these guys, and what is their plan?
There might be two What Are We Doing segments next week. One specifically with sports teams. So we will continue to monitor that. Coming up next, the Olympics and the opening ceremony is going on right now. What are you most excited for? Chris and I talk about what we're most excited for. And you called me a madman yesterday when it came to the tinfoil hat. Well, Jason Timpt of Volume is saying some things that Make me sound maybe less crazy. We will play that audio and let you know what he had to say. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. For your Friday forecast, we're staring at mostly sunny skies, feeling a bit of a breeze as it's occasionally gusty this afternoon. Highs will peak today in the low to mid-90s with overnight lows in the upper 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. Whether you purchase a new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, Elk Grove Honda has the right Honda at the right price. In the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you've been on the American River, it's uphill, it's downhill. There's trails everywhere that you can walk, and it just makes you happy. And I couldn't walk, and it was terrible. I was turning into a real crab. I went to the Good Feet store, and I tried on the arch supports. I could not believe that I was not in pain. I can walk, I can run, I can jump, I can do anything. My name's Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
The Good Feet Store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
About to break down some of this Olympic hype. Real quick, Chris, 209, man, I hope the Spurs don't get Cooper Flagg. We don't need Twin Towers 2.0. You do know that there are people out there that think that the NBA, I'm going tinfoil hat again, likes to put the Spurs in good situations, and they're not the biggest market. So that kind of goes against that. But yeah, 209, that would be a nightmare.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely insane. Just like two of the 7-foot freaks out in the universe on the same team. No thanks. No thanks.
Yeah, and it really would change the landscape of the NBA. Speaking of leading up to the future of the NBA and the future of the Sacramento Kings, we are going to have a conversation that we've had before, but Ja Morant is looking very healthy, and there are a lot of outlets picking the Grizzlies over the Kings. So we asked the question, who would you take, Ja Morant or De'Aaron Fox? So that's coming up a little bit later in the show, but let's get back into the Olympics and the opening ceremony that is supposed to be going on right now. The only thing I've seen is Snoop Dogg walking around with a torch that resembled something else that Snoop Dogg likes to have fun with. I mean, come on. Was that on purpose, guys? Was that on purpose? You know what it looked like.
That thought did not cross my mind. I'll have to look at it again.
Look at this. No, my buddy sent me the still.
Let me see.
Okay, look at this.
Snoop.
No, now, Chris, come on now.
Okay, that's crazy.
Now stop that.
That's freaking crazy.
And it's Snoop Dogg. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing with that.
It literally looks like, I mean, that I mean, that just
it looks like a giant.
Definitely looks like a giant joint. You know what I'm saying? Like it literally looks like he's got like a steel tip on it, and it looks like it is a joint that is burning.
90% of countries too. I mean, if you're caught with that, you're just in jail for the rest of your life.
Probably in Paris if you're caught with that.
Right. So
really towing the line, Olympics.
I think Snoop lives in a world that is above the law, not necessarily in the scary kind of way, but I just think if Snoop jaywalks, like, it's fine. If you see Snoop, lighting it up somewhere, it's like, yeah, that's true. It would be C, not J.
There you go.
No, I think he's fine.
And then they play Not Like Us again. Somebody would lose
and
it.
Steph cries.
All right, out of all the Olympic events, guys, what are you most excited for? I'll kick this off because it's very simple to me. Yeah, it's track and field.
It's track.
And part of that is because I've been watching sprint. I have 2 more episodes left.
Okay.
And Noah Lyles, he said the whole thing about the NBA and the world champ thing. That's when I first heard about him. I mean, this is really his first. He got bronze in Tokyo. But what happened is they race all the time. They have this Diamond League.
Right.
They have the World Championships, which I don't know if I'm still trying to. I haven't Googled.
Are those the ones at Oregon, or is that the U? I don't know if you know. I know they do the Olympic trials.
There's the Olympic. There was something in Oregon. The
Oregon.
Diamond League is all around. There's one in Paris, and then it ends with the World Championship being in Budapest. And I have decided not to.
Look that up.
Get into track. Get your kids into track. You get to travel to beautiful places to do all this if they are part of the 1% of athletes in the world. So I'm really excited for that. Sha'Carri Richardson, I think I had mentioned on the show, she says Sha'Carri. So if you've been saying Sha'Carri, it is pronounced Sha'Carri. At least that's how she says it.
Okay.
So I'm really excited to see her kind of avenge her whole situation and those storylines there with the Jamaicans and that rivalry. So it's very simple to me. It's track and field and obviously basketball is in the mix and Simone Biles, gymnastics is in the mix, but it's track to me.
Yeah, I think track is definitely the one I'm most excited for. It's the one I probably have the most fun watching, even though it is definitely the fastest one that goes on. Pole vaulting is actually surprisingly really fun too. I watched that during the last Olympics. There was, I think, some controversy. I think they split the gold medal last time, which is the first time that's ever happened before. Besides that, like you said, the gymnastics is really fun. It's going to be great to watch Simone Biles back at 100% doing her thing. She's just, I know we obviously talk about Simone Biles as a country all the time, but it's going to be nice to get back to she is legitimately the GOAT. She is the greatest gymnast of all time. And I'm going to be really excited to see her I think she's going to want to make a stamp at this Olympics. I assume it'll probably be her last. And then, the swimming is really fun too.
Yes.
It can get really, really fun. It's a little bit tough I've always had a tough time tracking it. I have a tough time differentiating, when you're in the water, who's really in first sometimes, especially when it's close.
They have all the names.
They have all the
that.
They do a good job of, once they touch the wall, they kind of show it as, they progress. But it's kind of tough when it gets to the, 0.005 second splits. And it's so I feel like that TV watching experience can be a little bit better, but besides that, I really do enjoy pretty much all of the Summer Olympics. Obviously, when I was in school still, the summer is when you have your time off. And I just remember waking up on Tuesday mornings during the Olympic season and cut on some handball and you're entertained. And it's just watching anybody do anything at that high of a level, you'll be entertained. You can watch skeet shooting for 15 minutes and be like, dang, that was crazy. Did you see him pull all 3 of those super quick? And he just bop, bop, bop. You'll find yourself being entertained by just about anything. You watch the table tennis, how far they go off of the tables, the volleyball, everything is just so fun. I'm sorry, Summer Olympics is just so much better than the Winter Olympics. It's, to me, not even a comparison. And it's just great. And we got it in Paris as well. Everything I assume is going to run smoothly. I just could not be more excited for this Olympics.
Nate, what tickles your Olympic fancy?
It's gotta be, and it's not even close, women's duet artistic swimming.
Wow.
Okay.
Gotta be.
You like the synchronized swimmers? Yeah.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
I
And
will say
then-
diving too.
I like diving.
Yeah.
Because it's too much of a splash.
Yeah.
And that's all we look for.
Yeah, that's all I look for.
That's literally it. Yeah.
It's like they all pretty much do the same thing in the air.
It's crazy how they jump from such a height.
Have y'all ever
and,
done a high dive before?
Not like that.
It's
I mean, I've jumped off.
I've jumped off a pretty high one.
Yeah, off
but-
like a public
Yeah.
pool or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yes.
like, that is a very significant leap of faith that you're making. And then to do flips and twists and everything
Well,
with it.
Like you always see, if you ever see those videos of dudes like jumping off cliffs, they throw like
Yes.
a rock first or something to break the water. How come they don't have to do that in the Olympics? It's just because they're so good at it, they just know how to dice through the water.
I would assume it's some combination of that, and it's probably regulated enough to where they're not going to kill any of the Olympians.
Prahlad just looked at me angrily.
Yeah,
that must have been a really stupid question.
I mean, they probably definitely have tested the limit of how high they can jump without having to prep the water before.
Oh, he's telling me they have water jets in the pool that prep the water.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
All right.
My thought was that I assumed that they thought of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm here, guys, and
hey, welcome to the show.
We were discussing some of the more obscure, and that's the direction that Nate went in with the obscure sport.
Yeah.
There's one here, and I'm firing this up. It is Bizarro World. This is called Baseball 5.
Huh?
And I'm literally
Is it
trying
like 3-on-3 basketball equivalent for baseball?
It says, what is Baseball 5? It looks like they throw a ball. It's almost like a pickleball version of baseball, where you pick the ball up, you hit it with your hand.
What?
You hit the ball on the ground and you try to beat it out. And
let me see wait, what?
And then you run it out.
It almost looks like the Squid Games court.
Yeah. It looks like a trampoline course.
And that is an Olympic sport. And I guess
that should be called handball.
My guess is you can't hit it over the fence because then everybody would just
everyone
do
would
that.
just hit dingers.
But that is an Olympic sport.
What is that called?
It's called Baseball 5. There's only infielders. So
it also looks more like a softball.
And that stuff I would assume just isn't going to be on TV. But
maybe find that on Peacock.
Flag football. Can I interest you in a flag football?
No.
Chris Verlad's back there. I would do this if I could. Roller speed skating. That would have been my bag after the X Games.
That's
when
pretty
I fell
fun to
down
watch too. Yeah, the roller derby stuff and the they also do the bikes. Have you ever seen them do the bike race in that circle?
Mm-hmm.
They get so close to each other. They start like messing with the wheels. It's absolutely insane. Some of these water events too are pretty cool with the rowing and what's the crew. I know that's a pretty uppity sport, but like there's a lot of the like water-based sports that they have to do in like the canals and the rivers. That are pretty cool too. They do like the slalom and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have white water, not rafting, but like kind of rowing through some pretty intense water.
Canoe slalom.
Yes, I think
cycling,
that's
BMX racing. There's a lot of different stuff here. So we'll have some fun with this throughout the Olympics as it looks like we're starting to get underway. But first, wanted to get to this sound from Jason Timp, who, look, yesterday, Chris and I off air. Alan, what are you talking about? Tinfoil hat. I'm not saying that they're throwing the game, but when people are having conversations like this, it does make you wonder. This is what Jason Timp had to say.
Jason, you are a LeBron fan, but you still have MJ as your GOAT. Does LeBron's superstar play extending into his 40s change that for you at all? It does. MJ's case is dominance. There was no player that was close to as good as him for so long, and they won so frequently in that window there in the 90s. LeBron's case is longevity. There's 30 NBA GMs, and you get to pick from every player in NBA history. You take LeBron, because with LeBron, I'm getting 22 years of top 5 level play. Am I ready to swap my pick? Because right now I do have MJ as the GOAT. I want to wait until after the Olympics. But if LeBron continues to lead this team the way that he has, and in the real elimination games, again, lifts this team over the top, that to me would be such a strong indicator that he's the best American player at age 39 years old, which is such an insane accomplishment And so at that point, I would have no choice, I think, but to acknowledge that.
So all of a sudden, here comes the narrative, Chris, the narrative train. Choo choo. If LeBron gets this is it's like a glitch in the system, Chris. And I saw it was the anniversary of The Matrix, and
it feels like it.
And I do love The Matrix, but now we're in this glitch in the system to where if LeBron gets this gold medal, that's gonna make him the GOAT.
Alan, I don't know what to tell you, man. I
told you, Chris.
That's crazy. I won't say it's okay. It's not crazy if that's what, but it's just I can't think of anybody who has ever in the history of ever said, that Olympic gold medal really put him over the top, in my opinion. I mean, Carmelo Anthony maybe is the only person, but even then it's more just a confirmation of, no, like Carmelo is actually really, really fun and can be a good player. Like, this should not play a factor into your GOAT debate.
But
I'm sorry.
Would you be moved based on how many more NBA players are in the Olympics now than when MJ was playing?
No, because I really don't think anybody cares. Like, you still have the best team, Like, I don't think it's like it is harder, but it's, your teammates are probably also better than the one that Jordan had before. I just think, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's just not something anybody factors in when they're talking about anybody's legacy. Like, did you know Michael Jordan won the 1984 Olympic gold medal, not just the Dream Team medal? Does that make you think any higher of him that he won 2 gold medals?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, it's great. Like, yeah, he was on the Dream. Like, it's awesome. But nobody brings up, how about the fact, Jason Timpf, LeBron won a bronze medal once.
Yeah.
He didn't win the gold at the Olympics in 2004. Should that count against him? No, because nobody cares. Nobody talks about it. It's irrelevant. It is completely irrelevant to the GOAT debate. I'm not saying what he was saying in there is wrong in the sense of the LeBron argument is 100% longevity and just overall having a great career in terms of accolades and things you've done along the way. But it's the Olympics does not matter. It's not. It does matter 100%. It just doesn't matter
for the conversation
in the context of best NBA GOAT of all time, or even basketball GOAT of all time. It does not play a factor in that at all. If you ever bring up Olympic gold medals in any sort of GOAT debate, you're getting laughed out of the room.
Pretty much. We will have that Olympic coverage for you throughout the duration of the Olympics as Albania is making their way on a beautiful boat.
Hope this isn't in alphabetical order.
Yeah, we got a while.
There's
Coming
Algeria.
There's Algeria. There definitely is. Well, can we just start with America?
Yeah, there we go.
And go from there.
Well, no, because there's multiple
Americas. Coming up next, it's time to have that conversation. If Kyle Shanahan is such a quarterback guru, do you have to pray Brock Purdy? Or should you move on? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
So toss to McCaffrey, a cutback 130, breaks 340. McCaffrey midfield. McCaffrey 40, 30, 20, and toasted all the way down to the 3-yard line on the first play of the game. CMC Dynamite!
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Hey, get ready to rock, groove, and have a blast with the Sacktown Sports live events calendar. We've got an unbeatable lineup of shows that you won't want to miss. It's Brett Young and Chase Rice at Thunder Valley on August 3rd. Plus, Jason Mraz and the Super Band will be rocking Thunder Valley on August 9th. Then head out of the heat to higher elevation for the Truckee Music Festival on August 9th and 10th, featuring Kip Moore and Sublime. And here's your Live Nation lineup. On August 4th, don't miss the Outlaw Music Festival at Toyota Amphitheater, featuring Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and John Mellencamp. On August 15th, catch Donnie Osmond at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. Then, on August 22nd, Creed Fisher takes the stage at Ace of Spades. And on September 10th, enjoy the timeless sounds of the Doobie Brothers at Toyota Amphitheater. Rounding out this rockin' lineup is the Lodi Grape Festival from September 12th through the 15th, featuring Joe Nichols and Smash Mouth. For information and tickets, visit grapefestival.com. And then stay tuned to Sacktown Sports for exclusive updates and your chance to win tickets.
Hello, I'm Frank Copper with Retirement Security Centers with the Weekly Economic Update. Stubborn and growing. This doesn't refer to your teenagers at home, but our resilient economy that keeps defying expectations. The S&P Global Flash U.S. Composite PMI, which is an aggregate picture of activity in both the services and manufacturing sectors, grew at its fastest pace in 27 months. There was an additional surprise in the form of lower price increases. Moderate inflation and growing economic readings could lead the Fed to lower rates in September to try to keep the economy moving forward. Services continue to lead the growth while manufacturing contracted. Some of the manufacturing production decline may be attributed to staffing shortages, so these reductions could be temporary. The current 2.8% annualized rate of growth in the second quarter surprised on the upside. While unemployment edged up to 4.1% in June, people are falling behind on their loan payments, and pandemic cash reserves have mostly been spent down, so this level of consumer spending may not be sustainable. How might this affect you or your family? Please go to frankontheradio.com to schedule an appointment, watch videos, and receive market updates. I'm ready to help you start your journey so you can define your future.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic FA Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Osaic FA is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic FA.
Quick Quack Car Wash takes the drama out of keeping your car clean.
Let's wash the car. Don't spray the hose inside the car. Oh.
Our convenient wash packages make it easy to get your car soaked, scrubbed, and on your way. Protect your car from sun, rain, and pollen with a ceramic duck wash, and get our in-wash light show and an unbeatable clean.
Oh, the kids filled the gas tank with water.
Of course they did. Quick Quack Car Wash. Come in today and get 25% off any wash.
Sacramento, Dierks Bentley's coming to town.
What was I thinking? I'm getting drunk all the way.
Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends. Farmally, Tyler Rich, Dasha, Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by The Scoundrel Red Wine, Naturewood Home Furnishings, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
Grab the keys to a new Toyota. This summer, answer the call to adventure in California with Toyota's legendary reliability. Shop a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, including more hybrids than any other brand. Don't miss a low lease on the 2024 Corolla, RAV4 Hybrid, Highlander, Tacoma, and even the new all-hybrid 2025 Camry. It's time to make this summer one to remember. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available through TFS to buyers with premium rated credit and 7/31/24.
Sacktown Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Tis the season, Chris. And honestly, this isn't the first time there's been a situation like this, something that came up that was similar. By the way, in about 15 minutes, we will get into Fox versus Ja, who you got. But this isn't the first situation. I remember Bomani Jones, nearly a friend of the show. We're still working on it. I remember Bomani Jones mentioned something saying, if you don't want to pay Brock and you are Kyle Shanahan and basically Jimmy Garoppolo has proved to be terrible, you could draft a QB, right, and not pay Brock Purdy, okay, if you're Kyle Shanahan. This is something similar, so I'll throw to you, Chris, that is being thrown around, and we're not suggesting it, but it is an option when you have an impending contract on the way.
Yes, I heavily recommend any 49er fan out there or anybody who's interested remotely in the Brock Purdy contract or just the Niners fine. Honestly, this is a real article about the Niners financial situation that they're facing and how they could potentially maneuver through it, maneuver out of it, and just maybe some courses of action that they can take to just steer right into it. So this is all from Bill Barnwell, who is ESPN's main football guy for the most part in terms of their in-depth analysis. It's a very, very lengthy article. I can't even imagine how many words this is. It goes into absolutely everything. How good is Brock in terms of his 2-year run? How does he compare versus other Shanahan quarterbacks? What might his next contract look like? Everything and more. I promise you can go find it over at ESPN. It's too lengthy to even try and go through. So we trying to sift through it all and get the important stuff here. And just really to set the table on where Brock's at and where the Niners are at. Barnwell writes, right now, the top of the market for the quarterbacks coming off his third season is a 5-year, $275 million deal, which was signed by Jacksonville's Trevor Lawrence back in June. Purdy has been more productive and more successful as a player than Lawrence, even if they don't have the same draft pedigree as the 2021 number 1 overall pick. If Purdy, continues to play this way, my best estimate, this is again Bill Barnwell on ESPN.com, my best estimate is that Purdy's deal would come in at around 5 years, $325 million for an average of $65 million per season. And that's based off of, he essentially goes in to say that there's an estimated 12-year increase in cap over a 3-year span. And that's going to kind of lead them to that number being the max number. Again, 5-year, $325 million, $65 million per year possible contract on the table for Brock Purdy moving forward. Barnwell writes, it's always possible the quarterback could take some semblance of a reduced salary to try and make life easier for his team, but after making just $2.6 million over the first 3 years of his existing deal, I'm not sure why he would be willing to take any sort of pay cut from the 49ers, and I completely agree with that. I can't imagine. I know we've talked about it. I know it's kind of been a narrative that's been out there. Oh no, Brock he'll take a team-friendly deal. He knows he's not the tippy top of quarterbacks in the league. He's aware he's not Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. He's going to help the Niners out. I think it's a great point to just say why would he do that? He's already given you the discount the first 3 years.
His UCL, he probably saw his career flash right in front of his eyes.
He apparently was playing injured last year, right? He was playing injured all the way throughout November, if you believe some of the reporting out there. And so, definitely that could show that he was saying, I'm willing to potentially risk some of my future to make sure that I get this money and that I, prove myself. Not just about the money. Bill Barnwell goes on to write that trading Ayuk would make it easier to keep both Purdy and the other playmakers on the roster, but the time to do that was in April. Now the top of the wideout market having grown more expensive in the season approaching, a 49er team that expects to win a Super Bowl probably won't be able to get rid of win-now playmakers in return for their star receiver. On the other hand, there's another team that has managed to pay a litany of key contributors on offense. The Eagles have handed out significant deals to quarterback Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, their 2 receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, 2 offensive linemen, and Lane Johnson and Jordan, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his name, and guard Landon Dickerson. In all, they've spent more than $213 million the Eagles have in cash on just their offense this season, making Philadelphia's offense, and I did not know this, Philadelphia's offense is the most expensive in NFL history. Now, how can they do that? One reason why the Eagles were able to do that is draft picks. After several trades with the Dolphins and Saints, they stocked up on their defensive side of the ball. They have 3 first-rounders in their defensive line rotation, the 2 Georgia products, and they've also added Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean with 2 top 40 picks in the secondary. We still have to see how some of those picks pan out, but on paper, the Eagles are preparing for a universe in which they're cheaper, but still have some promise on defense. And so essentially, again, the article goes on to say different ways in which the Niners could try and either replicate what the Eagles are doing or try and do a happy medium of both and kind of do what they've done in the past here, where, yes, they have an elite offense, but that defense is also top 5 as well. And I just think that, again, this article is a really, really good primer for if you want to know all things going into the Brock Purdy situation and how the Niners could potentially find their way out of this situation with their hands relatively clean. But, Alan, does $65 million for Brock Purdy scare you? Because it kind of scares me.
Look, man, they're calling him Quad Purdy. Apparently, he's jacked. Nate was there. We're going to ask him how jacked he looks.
Crazy.
And we asked the question on the other side, would you move Brock Purdy? Am I taking crazy pills, moving Brock Purdy? Let's talk about it. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system? You were a bit surprised at how much it cost, or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khdk.com.
Imagine the most beautiful panoramic setting. Endless waves crashing on a beach, kids playing in the park. Now, right smack in the middle of your perfect picture, imagine just one piece of litter. It doesn't fit, does it? And it simply doesn't belong anywhere. Certainly not in California. Not even one piece. Good news? If we work together, we will change it all. Clean California. Zero litter is the goal. CleanCA.com.
I'm a very active person that likes to move around and go. The pain I was in was really excruciating. It was actually debilitating. I was basically heading towards a sedentary lifestyle. I had really tried everything, but I quickly lost hope with all of the things that we had tried, and that's what led me to the Good Feet store. And when I found the Good Feet system, it really just changed everything. It brought me back to life. I have my active lifestyle back.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Continuing the Brock Purdy conversation and whether or not it'd be crazy to trade him. Chris has more of that breakdown from Bill Barnwell. But real quick, guys, this isn't breaking news as far as Sacramento is concerned, but in the NBA world, I think we saw this coming. TNT Sports statement on NBA media rights, giving the NBA's unjustified rejection of our matching of a third-party offer. We have taken legal action to enforce our rights. We strongly believe this is not just our contractual right, but also in the best interest of fans who want to keep watching our industry-leading NBA content with the choice and flexibility we offer them through our widely distributed WBD video first distribution platforms, including TNT and Max. So we gonna find out. They are suing. They are essentially suing. Okay, Chris, let's get back into this Bill Barnwell piece as it breaks down why in the world the Niners would even think about trading one Brock Purdy.
Yeah, again, this article has just about everything you can want, and in it is even an exploration of if the Niners should, instead of, like we said, 65, or like I said, I guess, 65 million seems like it could get a little bit crazy for Brock Purdy. And if you're not willing to do that, here's a potential solution. Barnwell writes, one solution would be to employ a quarterback who isn't making $65 million per season, but it would take a nearly unprecedented leap of faith for the 49ers. It would require a team to take a risk on replacing its already successful incumbent at one of the most important positions at sports. He says, I didn't come to the conclusion that this was the right idea, a likely path a team should take, or something I would ever believe a team would be brave enough to attempt, but it's at least a path that's worth discussing. With all that being said, if there was ever an example of a team who was able to get by as they moved on from an expensive middling quarterback to one who is less heralded but cheaper, wouldn't it be the 49ers? Garoppolo's injury woes and limited ceiling didn't make him a value on his extension with the 49ers. And while it would have been crazy for them to move on from Garoppolo, and start a 7th round pick as a plan, that's how things have worked in practice. I can hear what you're saying, and you're right. 49ers can't just draft another 7th round quarterback and expect to land the second coming of Brock Purdy. That's true in every spot on the roster. They can't expect to trade Ayuk and assume that Pearsall will step up as a ready-made replacement. The idea of letting Purdy leave for nothing and replacing him with the 15th best quarterback in the league is foolish. Let's see here. The 49ers could use a first round pick on a quarterback. Hell, they could use 3 quarterbacks to try and replace Brock Purdy. They could keep the 4 big playmakers around another 3 years without sacrificing the rest of the roster. Lynch could continue to add a big free agent name on the defensive side of the ball to surround Bosa and Warner. As we've seen in the Purdy era, having a bargain at quarterback allows you to spend where needed in multiple spots across the roster. And that's pretty much it. He obviously doesn't go super deep into, what potential trades could be, but again, just exploring the idea of, is it really that crazy to assume that the Niners could try and essentially do Brock Purdy all over again? And I think the conclusion Bill Barnwell comes to is, yeah, it's definitely not a great idea, but if you want to be risky, I mean, it's definitely a way of keeping what you have without you're only sacrificing Brock, whereas maybe if you sign Brock, you might be sacrificing 3 or 4 of your best players.
Now, there's a situation where it might sound like you're hating on Brock Purdy.
Yep. Okay.
And that when I say you, I'm talking about myself.
Well, in the general you, I think.
General you, I don't know what you would get. I just don't think it makes sense for either side.
Yeah.
Right. The Niners finally found somebody again. Right. Not to compare Brock Purdy to some of these other conversations like we've had about a Draymond Green, what would Draymond Green look like if he got drafted to the Pistons, right? I don't know if it's that aggressive, but I do think there is some form of it. And if you go around the room, I think it's a situation where Brock Purdy fits what the Niners are doing perfectly. And I'm not sure if he would fit what every other team is doing. And if we look at, let's say, the Carolina Panthers, I think the Carolina Panthers would be interested. I also think there's a part of the Panthers that would say, look, Bryce Young, we got Xavier Leggett and his deep country voice, and we want to see what happens there, okay? If you go around all the teams, the market is so confusing for Brock Purdy. Panthers would probably do it, but I don't know. How about this? Would you go straight up if you're the Panthers?
No.
If Brock Purdy is that much better than Bryce Young, would you see what Bryce Young looks like with the Niners? Would you just do that? I don't know. I don't know if either team would do it.
I don't know if I know the Niners wouldn't. But
I don't think the Niners could do it. Bryce Young, we just don't know what he's going to be. If you look at the Broncos, I think the Broncos would like to see what they have, even though their quarterbacks haven't looked particularly good so far. I'm looking here, Chris. It's a very interesting time. I don't really know this. I don't think the Saints I think the Saints would just say, we're just going to rock and roll with what we got. I really don't know. As good as Brock is, maybe you could convince me the Patriots would be interested.
That's a good shout.
The Seahawks would never do business with the Niners anyway.
And vice
the
versa.
Steelers, I don't know if I think the Steelers would just say,
interested, but
they might be interested. They might just say, we're just going to blow this thing up. And if it doesn't work out with Justin Fields, or by the way, Russell Wilson calf strain, he's out right now. It's a very confused. Maybe the Titans, you could convince me of the Titans. I can look at three teams for as good as Brock Purdy is. The Bucks just paid Baker.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it makes sense for either side.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing Brock, but I also wonder if you are any of those teams you listed. And I definitely think I agree that those would be the teams that are the most quarterback needy and would be willing to kick the tires. But if I'm Carolina, if I'm going to make a big move like that, I mean, that's presuming if you're trading for Brock Purdy, that's going to be multiple first-round picks, I would assume, if not just a first-round pick and then multiple seconds, or it's going to be a heavy package. Is Brock the guy that we're willing to just kind of put all of your eggs in the basket for?
Right. Has he shown you enough?
You know?
Yeah, and because
you do have to – it's not a Trevor Lawrence situation where, let's say Trevor Lawrence was the Trevor Lawrence that we saw in college, and then he thrives in the NFL, or is let's just say maybe he doesn't look as incredible as an individual as we would have thought that he would have looked. But let's say that, he ended up on a team like the Niners and didn't really have to display all of his crazy arm talent because he has so much talent around him. It's just not that situation where you have the pedigree to go off of and say, okay, I know for a fact, independent of the situation, Trevor Lawrence has arm talent. Trevor Lawrence is just an example. You don't know if Brock Purdy can exist outside of that 49ers ecosystem. To me, it's not worth taking that kind of risk. I would much rather just be the Panthers and continue to take first overall quarterbacks year after year until eventually you're going to get.
You're going to hit eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to hit eventually.
I think that's a lesser risk than being the one to say, yes, I'm willing to pay Brock Purdy $65 million.
Right, because if you're wrong and the haters are right, hey, well, you don't have the Avengers now and Brock doesn't look the same.
Right.
You're playing in Carolina, it's not the Bay Area as far as the weather. And I know he played in Iowa and things like that. I just don't think it would happen. The 916 is saying, what are we doing? Why even entertain
hey,
the
hold on.
clickbait
We're not doing that
article?
segment yet.
Yeah. That's my segment. Come on, man. The Niners aren't even considering such a thing. That's from Nick.
Article.
I wouldn't call it this clickbait. This is just one part of the article.
Yes,
the segment before we discussed. We discussed the other part of it. So I wouldn't, if this was the headline and this was why the Niners need to trade Brock Purdy, that would be more clickbaity. This is just Bill Barnwell breaking down all the options and exploring all the options that the Niners have. I'm looking.
And he
here,
also comes to the conclusion. Yeah, that's cuckoo town.
That's not going to work from the Seahawks point of view, because Eric on the Sack Chat is saying Seahawks would do that deal in a heartbeat. I just think NFC West, I mean, it's even worse. You're talking in the NBA Western Conference. This is even worse than Western Conference, because it's not just, not very many people care about the divisions in the NBA, but you're talking about the divisions in the NFL. That's a bit different.
Big difference.
So doing business with the Niners in the NFC West, I think you're spot on, Chris, with what you said about the Panthers, right? They have some weapons, the Seahawks do, but you have Geno Smith as your starter, Sam Howell as your second string, PJ Walker, shout out T for Temple U, as your third string. And Eric is saying they would do that deal in a heartbeat. I just don't think they would, because the Niners would say, give me your firstborn kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. The Niners wouldn't let that. Niners wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, no. I mean, I can't think of.
They'd offer something, but it would be Danny Ainge on steroids.
Yes,
you don't want to get into that.
No, not at all. I mean, there's no benefit. Why would if the Niners believe in Brock Purdy, which every indication says they do, they wouldn't want to trade a good quarterback to their division rival, period. And I mean, if you're the Seahawks, why would you want to, let's say Brock, it doesn't work out for Brock. Why would you want to give them, like you said, a Danny Ainge package where they have your first round pick the next 6 years? And maybe you're middling with Brock, but with those 6 first round draft or whatever it is, that's definitely an exaggeration. But with all those first round draft picks, what if the Niners take off to a whole nother level? And if that's even possible, and you're the reason why. I mean, that's you just can't have that interdivision. And so, I mean, I don't think there's any way the Seahawks and Niners would ever do business.
No, it would be unforgivable. Not for a quarterback. And if you're the Seahawks, again, everybody likes Brock Purdy, but are you willing to 3 first rounders for Brock Purdy? We'd rather just stink. I think the Seahawks, they might be in the conversation for a what are we doing, because clearly they're trying to convince us that Geno Smith is the guy, and
not just us. I think they're convincing themselves.
Exactly. They wrote me off. I didn't write back. He did not look the same last season, and
got lost in the mail.
Still a great story. But we're past that now.
Yes.
If you're a Seahawks fan, hey, are we actually going to win, or are we just going to have this great story?
Right.
And then the Seahawks, very similar to the Raiders, they weren't able to get up there and get a quarterback. I know people were high on Sam Howell on the Commanders last season, and now he's on the Seahawks, but they're still in this didn't get your franchise guy, kind of middling. Who are you taking right now, Geno Smith or Mustache Minshew?
Geno, I think.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think I might go Mustache.
I'm going Mustache.
It's all the same.
It's right.
What are we talking about?
It's vanilla or French vanilla.
You're not winning.
It just depends on
we're
what.
talking about 7 and 9 here.
That's right.
Geno cannot move, man. That guy.
He can move.
Geno? He's just he's
clunky. He's not a gazelle.
Yeah,
but he can move.
Okay.
He's very Josh Dobbs-esque to me, but slower. It's like a little bit slower.
If I could train
who's the third string?
Josh Dobbs is, I don't know. Josh Dobbs is going to be a 49er when the season starts.
Not good, huh?
Not good, let me tell you.
I don't know. We can talk about it later, but we got to go.
We'll get live from training camp from Nate when we get back. Coming up next, Ja Morant feels like he's almost back. You're starting a franchise tomorrow. Who you got? Ja Morant or De'Aaron Swiper, the Fox? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes, Kyle Draper. As the proud sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew, Alsco Uniforms offers certified hygienically clean lab coats, scrubs, bed linens, towels, floor mats, and an array of mops tailored for your healthcare facility. Our services include convenient delivery to your doorstep. Leading the way in healthcare laundry services in Northern California, discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's alsco.com.
Grab the keys to a new Toyota. This summer, get out there and explore California in a brand new Toyota truck. Answer the call to adventure with powerful performance and Toyota's legendary reliability. Don't miss a low lease on the fully redesigned 2024 Tacoma or low 1.99% APR on 2024 Tundra and Tundra Hybrid. It's time to make this summer one to remember. Toyota. Let's go places. Offer available through TFS to buyers with premium rated credit. Excludes TRD Pro and Capstone and 73124.
Live and local.
Live and local. This is Sacktown Sports.
Another tale of the tape here with Ja Morant and De'Aaron Fox. By the way, we will get back into the Brock Purdy conversation a little bit later in the show. And we have Nate's report from training camp. How can they compare Purdy to Garoppolo? First of all, Purdy has a better arm. Even with the separated elbow, legs are 200% better, and he looks, well, lately quad Purdy, and he looks better in the pocket. There's just no comparison. That's from Justin. Yeah, I'm out on any Purdy to Jimmy Garoppolo comparisons. Yeah. But Jimmy Garoppolo is not good. The question is, could you get somebody back? I mean, somebody that's close enough to Brock, right? And ultimately, let's call a spade. Brock didn't fumble the football or anything like that, but
didn't hold.
Brock was supposed, and we'll see what happens this season, but Brock was supposed to be the guy who, hey, you have the Avengers and you have somebody like Brock Purdy. This is the guy that can beat Mahomes. And he did it. He did it.
Well, Brock didn't fumble on the first play of the game.
That's what I just said.
Brock didn't muff I'm talking about the Super Bowl.
Yes,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm
I
just
thought you
saying,
said fumble the bag.
I'm just saying,
hold twice like
yes,
right.
Yeah.
He didn't. And but there is a conversation to be had. Or if it's just there's one Mahomes. If there's only one Mahomes, I think the argument is if there's one Mahomes, then do we need to pay Brock because we got to figure out a way
defense, right?
to beat him anyway.
Yeah, that's not
right?
how the market works, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying it is.
Yeah, well, Brock, I mean, I said this when we were talking about the list. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that are going to win that game against the Green Bay Packers where he came back and won. He made some excellent throws, some high IQ plays, the scramble specifically, like Jimmy, if we're going to do that comparison real quick, we don't have to do it anymore, but Jimmy Garoppolo does not win that game for the 49ers.
But I'm taking away, that's what I'm saying. I'm taking away the Jimmy thing. I'm saying, is there a quarterback? I don't think Jimmy is good. I never thought Jimmy was good, okay, even when he was winning. Is there a quarterback that is cheaper that could do something comparable? That's the question. Right. That's the question. And I'm not saying to move off of him. I'm saying this is the question that was posed. Because if you pay Brock, you're going to lose some of your weapons. And that's why this season is so important to the quote unquote last dance narrative or the next iteration of it. The Temptations were still the Temptations after David Ruffin, but it was a little bit different.
I think there's a huge chance too. Brock has not hit his ceiling. This man has only played 25 games?
Yeah, it's
so early in his career. I don't think we've seen the best of Brock Purdy yet.
Well, eventually we're going to have to. And maybe it's this season. It's this season. We will get back to live from training camp with Nate later in the show as I give you, Chris, the tale of the tape. Player A, career 257 games, 22.5 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, 7.4 assists per game. Okay. Player B, 469 games, 21.2 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, 6.1 assists per game. Player B, I forgot to say the age. Player B is 26 years old. Player A, oddly enough, it doesn't have player A's on Basketball Reference, but player A is younger. Let me just confirm that right now. Player A is 2 years younger at 24 years old. One comes with a little bit of baggage. Player A. Player B does not.
Yeah.
One would argue player A also has a little bit more outward dog.
There's no point in doing player A, player B if you're just going to say the players without saying their name. The whole point of player A versus player B is that I'm supposed to have absolutely no idea who is player A and who is player B.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's because you know me at this point.
I mean, you teased it. You said it. You said
the more
player A is younger than player
A
B.
Is in Memphis.
Yeah.
Player B is in Sacramento.
Is in the West Coast.
Yeah. One player plays for a team with a crown. The other plays for a bear.
Yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't know which one is player A or player B in terms of I can't remember which numbers were which, but I will take the Well, I mean, 22-7 is better than 21-6. So I mean, I would have to take the 22-7, but numbers aren't all created equal. And I think
Ja has more assists.
That's the Ja story.
Ja has over 1 more assists, and Ja has more rebounds as well. Now that I'm looking at it, but somebody's already making a joke about the blicky and things like that. The character
one-stage strap.
Is that fair? Character issues.
Yeah,
I
think that's fine because it's not just like the brandishing the weapon. It's like he got in a fight with that high school kid too.
That's right.
And there was a scene.
There was something at the mall as well.
The mall where him and his crew
and you got
rolled up on somebody.
If you're taking Ja, you're taking his daddy.
Yeah. Yeah. You're taking T with it.
You're taking T with you.
Yeah.
Let's hear from
Ja
Morant. He's feeling excited about this season and what the Grizzlies are going to be able to do.
I'm really fully to go. It's just building endurance now. So if I had to pick a number, I'd say probably like 75%. And I feel like that's still scary for whoever in front of me. So
you're not 12 out of 10 yet?
No, not yet. But come October, I will be.
I'm going to say something.
Okay.
I'm taking De'Aaron Fox. But in my mind, I feel like in this universe, I'm taking De'Aaron Fox knowing that I might end up regretting it. And I'm saying that because I guess it's a different way of saying I think Ja Morant has a higher ceiling. But I'm taking De'Aaron Fox because I'm taking it's very similar to the Jazz want Pajemski instead of Kuminga. It really comes down to if you think their ceilings are close enough, then I'm going to go with the guy that doesn't have the character situation and is on Instagram at strippies and brandishing weapons. So that's what I would say. But it's close. It's close.
I think that Ja is definitely more exciting of a player for sure. I mean, the highlights speak for themselves. This dude flying through the air without any care for his body or anyone's safety is really enjoyable to see once a week. But I just think De'Aaron's like the more complete player. I think Ja is a crazy athlete and attacks the rim maybe better than we've ever seen anyone besides Russell Westbrook. But I just don't see the complete package. Like, he still can't shoot. I know his assist numbers are better. I don't really think of Ja as a playmaker. I think of him more. He's like the perfect Mike Brown spray 3 guy. I mean, he drives the lane, collapses the defense, and gets guys open. So I definitely have to give him credit for that. But I just think De'Aaron brings a little bit more to the table. He's a better defender. He's taller than Ja is. I think he's just a little bit more versatile. Ja definitely will get you the highlights. He might one day be a 25 to 26 point per game scorer. And maybe at that point, I'll possibly have to reconsider. But right now, I just think De'Aaron is the more complete player. You mentioned that De'Aaron's a couple years older than him. That could also be a factor. Maybe the conversation is a little bit more fair to Ja if it's De'Aaron at age 24 or whatever versus Ja at age 24. Because, I mean, I think right now De'Aaron just does more. And I think De'Aaron is just the guy that I would trust more, too. I think Ja views himself like, I am the son. I am the superstar of this team. We know De'Aaron doesn't super care about that kind of stuff. Like, he definitely enjoys to be the best player, known as the best player on the team, but he seems a little bit more willing to take a different role. And I don't think Ja is going to be second fiddle to anybody. And I'm not sure Ja Morant will ever be good enough to be the best player on a championship team. I don't think De'Aaron can either. I'm not sure De'Aaron can either.
Right.
I have a similar amount of question, but I know De'Aaron would be more willing to take that backseat.
Yeah, when I look at Ja Morant, Chris, I mean, there's just been, and I know De'Aaron one clutch player, but I'm not just talking about the clutch time. And by the way, De'Aaron at 33.4 for 3-point percentage, Ja at 31.8. So that is a separate battle in itself. But there are times where, and I know De'Aaron Fox has done this too.
Yeah.
There are just times where there is nothing a defense can do against Ja Morant.
Sure.
I mean, just absolutely nothing. He does whatever he wants getting to the cup, and he's going to either get to the foul line, he's going to and one he's going to kick it out to Desmond Bane, and that's why and his T-Rex arms, and that's why what is it? ESPN had had the Grizzlies at number 13 or 12, while
something like that. Yeah, and the Kings were 15.
15. So I think it's close. I'm taking De'Aaron Fox, but I will say this. I do think that Ja Morant has that it. That is why, he might be. There's a reason why a lot more people would probably take Ja Morant, and maybe real hoopers would take, or real ball knowers would take De'Aaron Fox, but it's because he's got the flash. He likes the spotlight, and there's something to be said about that.
1,000%.
I think some people would wish parts of Ja Morant were more easy to be seen in De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
But I think we're both taking De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm taking De'Aaron Fox thinking I might regret this, or I might look like a genius.
No, I think I'm more on your side than I would like to admit. That I'm taking De'Aaron, but a part of me knows that Ja Morant is, right behind in the peripheral. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if in 2 years we're saying, man, wasn't it kind of crazy that, Chris was so confident that De'Aaron was going to be better than Ja? And now we look at it, and again, Ja's a 30-point per game scorer.
2 years is a big difference.
It's a long time.
2 years is a big difference. When Ja is 26, we will have this conversation again. Coming up next, why Sasha's buyout with Toronto makes the trade even worse for Sacramento. Can we catch a break even on a Friday? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
De'Aaron Fox plays here.
Stolen by Fox. Breakaway coming up for De'Aaron. And a simple, casual spike to the left hand. The Kings lead by 3.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. For your Friday forecast, we're staring at mostly sunny skies, feeling a bit of a breeze as it's occasionally gusty this afternoon. Highs will peak today in the low to mid 90s with overnight lows in the upper 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. Whether you purchase a new Honda or a like new pre-owned Honda, Elk Grove Honda has the right Honda at the right price. In the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or ElkGroveHonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Sacramento, Dierks Bentley's coming to town. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends. Farmerly, Tyler Rich, Dasha, Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by The Scoundrel Red Wine, Naturewood Home Furnishings, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity Mobile. Connect to the most reliable 5G network nationwide. Blaze lefty Hogan Harris spent the first 5 seasons in the organization dealing with injuries and threw less than 200 innings during that time, but now his promise is coming to fruition. In the first game of the Astros series at home, Harris, making his 9th start this year, blanked the Astros over 6 2/3 and lowered his ERA down to 2.98.
Want to save on some of the biggest names in streaming on the network made for streaming? Now through September 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And for just $15 a month, add the new Stream Saver that includes Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix for just $35 a month. Switch at Xfinity.com today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Currently $54 a month. Actual speeds vary. Stream Saver requires Xfinity internet or TV and price subject to change.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Quick Quack Car Wash takes the drama out of keeping your car clean.
Let's wash the car.
Yay!
Don't spray the hose inside the car. Oh.
Our convenient wash packages make it easy to get your car soaked, scrubbed, and on your way. Protect your car from sun, rain, and pollen with a ceramic duck wash and get our in-wash light show and an unbeatable clean.
Oh, the kids filled the gas tank with water.
Of course they did. Quick Quack Car Wash. Come in today and get 25% off any wash.
Hi, Michael Dave here for Capital Casino. Sacramento summertime heat is back. And of course, Cap Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, wants to invite everyone to soak up some air conditioning, still with the most variety of table games in the region. And as always, the best food, best service, and the best action, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. Capital Casino, of course, reminding everyone to please make sure you gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sacktown Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
More Sasha drama.
Oh, great.
Real quick from the 916. Sorry. But Ja Morant was trending towards a top 10, if not top 5 player in the league before the shenanigans. What are we doing here? Am I getting trolled today?
Yes.
We said we're doing, and maybe actually we should just ride this,
Get
Chris. Okay.
Gonna read the other
I
one.
forgot
too?
about that. You know what I'm thinking?
What are we
Are we
thinking?
doing days? Maybe the Texers are leading us somewhere.
Yeah.
Where it's on days where there is a "What are we doing" segment. The Texers they add in their own "What are we doings" because we said we're doing our first "What are we doing"
That's
segment
right.
today.
Yeah.
Towards the 1 o'clock hour, right before the 1 o'clock hour, and now all of a sudden, all the Texers are saying, "What are we doing?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I being trolled? I feel like Whitey is behind
Really
this
feels
at some point.
He would definitely do that.
But thank you to the 916.
absolutely.
Also, another 916 is giving a shout out to Nate, who calls Allen out on his crap takes.
Yeah.
Some of them are
Someone's
laughable. Some of them are laughable. So Nate getting
Points
some
per game
love.
isn't everything. That's what.
Okay.
From downtown.
From downtown, I'm bricking, I guess. Apparently, all right.
Whoa.
As we get
Starting to shrivel.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, those are two
I
different things.
never said that.
That's AI.
And I would say
Literally never
that
said that.
Sasha's footprint in Sacramento is starting to shrivel, and why his buyout with Toronto makes the trade even worse for Sacramento. The full details of that trade are now in view. This is from Raptors Rapture. The full details of that trade are now in view, and it looks like a slam dunk for the Raptors. They got 2 second-round picks for essentially free, as swapping Jalen McDaniels for Davion Mitchell is at worst an even swap, if not another clear win for the Raptors. After waiving Vezenkov, the Raptors now have an open roster spot and the flexibility to use nearly all of the mid-level exception and still stay under the luxury tax. Whether they use that flexibility to sign a player or trade for someone, they have plenty of options available to them. Sacramento likely still had to make the trade because of the timing, as they needed the room to pull off a sign and trade for DeMar DeRozan. Yet if they had just worked out the buyout with Vezenkov themselves, they could have kept the draft picks. Instead, the difference of a month earned Toronto some valuable draft capital. There's perspective on trades in the NBA changes all of the time as hindsight comes into focus. And right now, this deal looks like even more of a win for Toronto. Yeah, it's kind of a bad look. I mean, I will let me put it to you like this. What we don't know is whether or not they tried to have a conversation and work something out with Sasha.
Mhm.
But if
Yes,
they said,
true.
we don't want to do that with you, and Sasha was saying, look,
Right.
now that Sasha's gone, we heard that after a game, Sasha was speaking in his native tongue, and we don't know what he was saying, but he was ticked off after a game he did not play. Sasha was not happy. So is this a case, Chris, of the Kings saying, hey, we're staying strong, and ultimately having a bit of egg on their face, or maybe they were just going to get screwed either way?
Yeah, I kind of think that they just didn't think Sasha was going to be willing to leave $6 million on the table. I think their bet was, no, Sasha will play another year and then maybe he'll go back overseas or something like that. I read this article and I just got re-upset again. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, when that deal happened, I was pretty useless on this show for about a half hour because I was just so upset, confused, and I had to talk myself down a bit. And I kind of regret doing that. I feel like I kind of should have stayed, kept the pressure on, because I just, again, as it says there, it feels like the further and further we get away from this trade, the less and less sense it makes. And it feels like, Jalen McDaniels hasn't had his intro press conference yet with the Kings. Devin Carter has, DeMar DeRozan has, Jordan McLaughlin sat in that seat right there. I know he hasn't had his intro press conference, but he's been in Sacramento.
Right. Is McDaniels even in Sacramento?
We don't know. We literally don't know. And so it's just really frustrating to me. And I think it is a really bad move. And I thought, I completely agree that they just gave up second round picks for the sake of flexibility. And I get that it allowed them to make the move for DeMar, but it just didn't feel like they exhausted every option. And I think this is a bit of the downside of, and I'm not blaming the fans for it, but I do think when there's so much pressure, it feels like, to get a deal done, sometimes you do have to act out of desperation. And that was my problem with that move. Is I know there's GMs out there. Masai Ujiri's one of them. Danny Ainge is 1,000,000% one of them. It doesn't matter if you have an intention or not. You don't lose a trade.
Right.
That's how those guys operate. And Monty McNair, I kind of thought had a bit of that in him. But to just give up what they gave up in the sake of, hey, this is going to be better for us in the long haul, I just couldn't get down with, and I just didn't see the vision, and I still don't see it, and I don't think the vision's going to come because they could have still acquired DeMar, and they just would have been a little bit over the luxury tax. They only did it to save money. It was not necessarily that they couldn't do it full stop without getting under the dollar figure. They just kind of wanted to save a couple bucks, a couple $1 million at that, but I just kind of had a fundamental problem with it. And I think, the article is completely right. As the days go further and further, and, if Jalen McDaniels ends up never playing a game for the Kings just essentially ship those guys off for the sake of a little bit of freedom underneath the first apron and the luxury tax. And I can't get down for that.
Yeah. And, some of us play fantasy basketball, fantasy football, and the couch GMs, right? And things like that. But this is a situation where you start thinking, okay, and I'm very guilty of this. I say all the time, these guys get paid the big bucks. For the most part, I trust these guys.
Yeah.
And when you see something like this and your initial thought was this makes no sense. Then it's like the 5 stages of grief.
Yes, it's what it felt like, legitimately.
Right. First, it's this makes no sense. Then it's, okay, Monty must know what he's doing. And now, all this time later, it turns out, no, sometimes these guys swing and miss. Yeah. And Sam Presti came out, hey, we missed on Gordon Hayward, right? And I think this was some version of a miss.
Yeah.
Okay. And as much as we said, hey, well, Sasha didn't fit and Davion this, you basically lost them for nothing. We do not know if Jalen McDaniels has ever stepped foot. If he saw the rabbit coming down the Sacramento airport, has he stepped? We went on his Instagram last week.
Yeah.
The brother hasn't posted since he was in Philly. We need an AP. I said like Stephen A. We need an APB out on Jalen McDaniels. Where is this man?
You got chefs in New Orleans who love him.
Idea. He might be in New Orleans. We have no clue where this man is.
No idea.
And now Sasha comes home to a slew of just
looking like Lionel Messi, man.
Looking crazy. Like he made the best decision of his life. And the Kings, this is the chess move. This is the move before the move. Okay, well, you got DeRozan, and now you hop on these here airwaves with our guy Jason Ross and says this is the core. So it felt like it was a little bit, not a dud because you got DeRozan, but we thought this was going to be some, and maybe they're not done, but there was some type of this master move, this mastermind move, and it turns out, as of right now, there wasn't.
Yeah.
There was one move, and to your point, you saved a little bit of cash.
Yep. Good job. Glad.
You saved a little bit of cash where I say
you could have kept Davion. I really think
you could have kept Davion.
Yeah. And, I wasn't super excited about and I think they would have had to make a decision. But again, I think
But you would have still had him as an asset for later.
100%. That's it.
You would have still had him as an asset for later, and you lose that asset. Now, I know where Davion is because I still follow him on Instagram, and he's grinding in the 6.
In the 6.
He's grinding out there, and he looked good.
Yeah.
He looked good,
He's
too.
going to do great. He's going to do great out there. He's going to have an open opportunity.
That's
also,
right.
real quick, there's some Kings-adjacent free agency news that just came out. Kessler Edwards, former Sacramento King, signs a 2-year deal with the Dallas Mavericks.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Dallas is just, Dallas and the Sixers. If you've ever done anything good in your life on the basketball court, we are pulling you in. Also, by the way, it is official with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook has agreed to a 2-year, $6.8 million deal with the Nuggets, and I can't wait for the text line or the sack. Why didn't we? Would you have done that deal actually, Chris? Because you were a Russell Westbrook guy.
Yeah, I've got no problem with it. Yeah.
So it would have been him instead of the McLaughlin situation.
Yeah, I'll take that risk.
When you guys are looking at the Kings offseason rankings, which we've been doing quite a bit here, are you guys seeing Dallas? What people are rating them?
Very high.
Very high.
Like top five.
Did they get an A?
So it's always A.
I don't think it was A.
I
don't know if it was
can't
an
remember
A.
what they got on the offseason grade.
It might be A now.
We looked at the power rankings, I think.
Kessler Edwards put them over the top.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
A plus now.
And you have the Nuggets, who I don't think we read something, Chris, that said Jamal Murray at the 2, Russell Westbrook starting.
Right.
And if you don't have, and Russell Westbrook, pretty good defender for the most part. He's a little bit older now, but without KCP, you're running out of time, Denver. You are running out of time, and this is something that keeps them in the mix, but I wouldn't say changes that much of the landscape. Rob, we see a Rob wants to talk Sasha. We will get to Rob on the other side. We also will get into some baseball with the Mariners trading for the big hitter from Tampa Bay. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
Why'd the kid jump off the boat? I don't know. Why? Peer pressure. Oh, good one, Ned.
Ned isn't funny, but Ned owns a boat, and you don't. So every time Ned tells another one of his unfunny boat puns, you're going to laugh loud and keep on laughing until you get a boat of your own.
A pier where you put a boat. Yeah, I get it.
And when you do get a boat of your own, make sure you save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave inviting you to make the switch to electric this spring and save big with American Energy. Stay ahead of the spiking energy bills this summer with up to $9,000 in rebates on a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. American Energy is providing huge rebates from SMUD as well as spring specials by installing one of many incredibly efficient AC options available to you right now. Get rid of those fluctuating gas bills in the winter and switch to year-round all-electric with American Energy. Let them perform a free in-home energy efficiency analysis and see where they can help you save for the warmer months ahead. These guys are the best. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Learn more by calling 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
I would end the day with sore feet, sore legs. The drugstore inserts that I was purchasing were really not very useful at all. I walked into the Good Feet store and the guy kind of grinned at me and said, I hear that a lot. I was living with chronic pain before going to the Good Feet store. Now I don't really have that problem. I'm able to do the things that I expect to be able to do, even at my advanced age. I feel pretty good about what's going on.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Maida Chevy saves you $12,000 off MSRP on every new half-ton Silverado LT Turbo Max. In stock after rebates. Always 5 to choose from.
Exclusive. All in-stock pricing at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details. M73124.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
From the 530, why didn't we get Russ? In all caps, exclamation point and a question mark. I can't tell if the 530 is being a little bit cynical.
Like you said, they're trolling you today.
I am getting trolled today. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. We're all in a good mood.
Drop top, raindrop.
And Nate, the ultimate troll. The weather in Greece in Paris, doesn't look too good right now. I saw something saying Giannis made history as the first black flag bearer for Greece, and that's cool. Why Greece was on my mind.
Yeah.
But
they just had some dude in the rain playing piano. It was honestly pretty sick. It was pretty cool. It's
Lady Gaga, I saw, had a performance as well. So we continue to wait. United
China
States,
has their own delegation.
There you go. 34 athletes from Hong Kong, China. Let's get to Rob, who wants to keep it overseas as we discuss what went wrong with Sasha. What's up, Rob? What you got for us?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Beautiful Friday, right?
It is.
That's what I'm saying.
Not in France.
Yeah, 84 degrees, Rob.
Not so much in France, but no, I'm partial. I'm 50-50 with you guys on the Sasha stuff. I mean, gut reaction when it happened. God, my heart sank. I wanted to give him another year, see if he could work it out with us. You know, we saw a little bit of flashes of it. You know, right before he got injured, he was actually statistically, if you look at the 10-15 games right before he got injured and right before Trey Lyles got injured, he was out playing Trey. He was out shooting him from three. He was out rebounding him. And I mean, when you're looking at those guys coming off the bench, it's little things like that you really gotta appreciate. You're like, okay, maybe this veteran off the bench could put it together. And so yeah, my gut reaction was like, dang, you know, I really am bummed. But we were talking about it yesterday. I think it opens up salary space, but then what it does is when you go to if we make a move for a guy like Cam Johnson, I'd like Cam Johnson better than Davion. And I love Davion, but I mean, it's Cam Johnson. You got to take a swing. Yeah. And as long as he's on the table, I think we're going to be in those trade talks, you know. And I think if we don't get him, I think you just got to look at it like there's a couple teams that are just bound to start the season not so great. And I mean, that could be Brooklyn. That could be, you know, we were talking about the other day. But I mean, Brooklyn starts the season bad. If Washington starts the season bad, that's what I was thinking. You know, you keep kicking the tires on Kuzma. I got to imagine his value is not going to go up. So that extra money in that space, I know we want to make a move, and I know we need to make a move. But you know, if 20, 30 games in the season, those teams are struggling, that might be when we make that move. Yeah. And I would still look at it as a successful move if we pick up Cam Johnson in the long run.
Sure.
And it's a result of trading Davion with Sasha. Because that $6 million, that 6.6, I gotta wonder. I don't think Monty just like, oh, you know, we're not gonna even ask him. We're just gonna send him on his way.
Right.
You know, I gotta believe they tried to be, you know, get into some kind of negotiations. We'll buy you out. We'll do this or that. And then maybe he gets to Toronto and realizes like, hey man, you're either gonna play or you're gonna walk.
Right.
So do you want to go back home or do you want to play for another year? And he's like, and do you want to play in Toronto on this team? Like, the Kings are at least competitive, pushing for playoffs. You're not going to be doing that here. So what's your decision? He's probably like, oh, you know what, that $4.4 million a year and, you know, for 4 years back home, I'm going to go take that.
Yeah. That makes sense, Rob. Thanks for the call as always, man. Enjoy your weekend.
Yes, enjoy your weekend.
Well, I would say this. Let us not forget that story that ended up being a non-story with Sasha, how he was trying to get out of it, that whole situation while he was still a King.
Right.
So I do think that there was some level, and then Sasha's team came out and said, hey, that isn't what we're not trying to get out of the deal. So clearly there was something brewing, and maybe it's possible Monty was trying to get there with Sasha. We could, you could buy out. We could do something. And at that point, Sasha hadn't decided. He lands in Toronto and decides, okay, yeah, I actually do want to leave. So it's not to say that it wasn't for trying.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I wasn't trying to imply that either. I mean, I assume that they asked, like you said, I mean, there was reports before they even traded him that he was considering it. I think maybe Monty was just thinking, again, maybe they didn't have, he never got actual clarity from Sasha, and maybe he was just thinking, hey, yeah, if I trade him to a worse team, they're more likely to play him. And he just didn't know that Sasha was going to independently make that decision. Maybe Sasha was always kind of 50-50 on it, and him going to a losing team kind of put him over the edge. Maybe if he stayed in Sacramento and wasn't traded, maybe he'd be more willing to make it work out. Maybe he wouldn't have been so eager to reset or to eager to go back home. Maybe, yeah, the fact that he was walking into Toronto, he might have felt, well, now I feel like I'm starting back from square one, and I don't want to do that. At least in Sacramento, I have some cachet there. I have something in terms of I know the situation. He might have just not wanted to restart all over again, and that really could have set him over the top. So I wasn't trying to imply that Monty didn't ask or anything like that, but I think situation just kind of changed. And, yeah, I mean, I definitely think – in general, though, I feel like the Kings still could have operated and done all of the moves that they planned to do, especially if it's via trade. They just would have had to pay a little bit more money. They might have had a little bit more restriction, but they never ended. They still haven't used, to my knowledge, the mid-level exception, in which was the whole selling point of trading off Sasha and Davion, was that they then had full access or near full access to their mid-level exception. If I'm not mistaken, trading for DeRozan then took that full access away. So I feel like they could have, again, made all the moves that they wanted to make without doing the salary dump. To me, the salary dump was all about saving money. And I just think at the end of the day, if you're trying to win, look at the Warriors. I mean, they spent the most money of anybody in NBA history last year. They ended up as a 10 seed. And I only say that to say, sometimes if you want to be serious about winning, we talked about it in the middle of last year, you're going to have to fork up the money and want to pay. And sometimes, yeah, you might pay and it might not directly lead to wins, but you have to get there just as just to try. And, you can't just pay when it's like, okay, now we're serious about winning. Now I'm willing to pay. Sometimes you're going to have to pay the piper before you actually get the results.
Yeah. And
it's easy to say when it's not my money.
Right. Well, they got a lot of it. And the other thing is too, as far as the decisions that the Kings have made and the decisions that other teams have made, this is all a process. And to me, what we've learned and kind of what Rob is alluding to, when these teams start losing does not equate or does not equal desperation. Okay. These guys, these teams, when is the last time you saw, Brooklyn or whoever, bad team, got to the trade deadline and, okay, we're just going to get rid of our talent because we stink. And I'm not saying that Rob was saying that that's the case, but this idea that if they're bad, they might look to move, but the market hasn't shifted. We just watched this last season. Brooklyn was bad last season.
Right.
And they didn't make a move, and they didn't end up making any big moves. So these teams aren't going to get desperate and say, oh man, yeah, we stink, so here's Cam Johnson for 2 seconds or whatever it is. They're steady on it, and eventually they'll break, a la Caruso and the Bulls. But that was for a Josh Giddey, who a lot of people are high on Josh Giddey.
For sure.
So a lot of these teams, they can stink as much as they want, and they can make players available. But what we did learn this past trade season, and maybe it'll be different this go round, is they definitely didn't get desperate.
Yeah, no. And to that point too, like, just because you lose, it might even raise the value, because then everyone knows that you're for sale, and it's again, it becomes a bidding war, or it's like, hey, we're losing. Now we really need draft picks more than ever. Like, we might have been willing to trade for a ancillary, like, actual player and maybe some pieces, but now that we suck, now that we've started the season 1-12, yeah, we just want picks.
Yeah.
And so it could actually, in a weird way, end up hurting you. And that's why sometimes if a guy like Cam Johnson's available only because they make a move off of Bridges, sometimes it's best to just capitalize immediately and not let the market play out and just hope that the value comes down or the situation becomes better for you. I mean, I think that if the Kings feel like there's a right deal out there, they should make it, and they should not try and think, oh, maybe we'll wait this out and it'll be better for us, because that just doesn't happen. And unfortunately, Vlade Divac's quote of "I had a better deal 3 days ago" continues to ring in my head. So if you see a deal, don't wait. Don't try and see how this team ends up performing to see if they get desperate. If you want somebody, be active in the conversation and just make it happen. It shouldn't be situation dependent.
Coming up next, some drama with the Mason Miller injury. Are we calling this medical table gate? Somebody come up.
Crazy.
Yeah, somebody come up with a better name. Also, Randy Arozarena goes to the Seattle Mariners. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find De'Aaron Fox is Sacktown Sports.
Spins away from the defender, in the paint, soft floater. That's a great play by De'Aaron Fox.
Hey Sacramento, it's De'Aaron Fox, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
If you're looking for a new couch, you could cut down on expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Because you know you've had this couch for too long. Sure, you've had good times together, but a ripped up cushion is not a fond memory. It's a sign. Notice how other people have couches with 2 armrests? Now that's living, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new couch. Please, it's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. Or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to new, NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS.
If you're not looking for a brand new car, at Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. We've kept only the best of our trades, and our buyer has found some of the finest pre-owned Hondas available in Northern California. You can see for yourself at elkgrovehonda.com. Whether you purchase a brand new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, your car buying experience will be the same. We have the right Honda at the right price. You'll find us in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Hi, Michael Dave here for Capital Casino. Sacramento summertime heat is back. And of course, Cap Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, wants to invite everyone to soak up some air conditioning, still with the most variety of table games in the region. And as always, the best food, best service, and the best action, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. Capital Casino, of course, reminding everyone to please make sure you gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
There was always a crowd gathered around our dining table when I was growing up. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Everyone was welcome at my mother's table, so holidays, birthdays, and celebrations always included family and friends. I used to think I was the most popular kid in the neighborhood until I realized that my friends were really there for my mother's incredible cooking. Years later, when I bought my own dining table from Naturewood, I made sure it was large enough to make friends feel welcome. And right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings' Dine in Style sale, you have an opportunity to find the perfect dining room furniture to help you create your own treasured memories. Choose from casual to formal or anything in between. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings during the Dine in Style sale off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacktown Sports. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Song always makes me want to try to breakdance, when you do the first two-step at the beginning. Yeah. You ever
throw your hands out to the side?
Did you have a breakdance phase?
No. Jason asked me this morning if there was any Olympic sport, if he gave me 4 years to prepare for, what Olympic sport do I think?
Okay.
My answer was breakdancing. Just not because I am talented at all at breakdancing, just because it felt like the easiest point of entry.
Yeah, I'm looking. Well, I'm firing it back up, and I'm gonna stay away from the footballs and the flag footballs for me.
Yeah.
Maybe fencing.
That's interesting. That'd probably be a lot of hand-eye. Not saying you
That's
don't
what I'm
have
saying.
it, but yeah, I mean, I think
Archery?
that would be a tough one. That's what Jason said. Jason said archery, and I think Verlad said skeet shooting.
Yeah.
Or some form of shooting.
That's
Verlad said regular shooting.
Regular shooting? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what? What is
Badminton?
I guess target shooting.
There you go. All right.
Interesting.
Let's get into this Mason Miller drama. So Martin Gallegos, who covers the A's for MLB.com, yesterday we announced his report of Mason Miller fracturing his left pinky, hitting a medical table because he was already ticked off, and I guess somebody said, hey, you still got to get a workout in.
Yeah.
That was the story. So what happened was, this is from Martin Gallegos. I'm going to take you through what happened. Friend of the show. To clear up what happened, shortly after reporting news of Mason Miller's injury, I got a message from his agency that the cause was incorrect.
Okay.
I followed up with clarification. They later retracted that it was incorrect, essentially.
Huh.
I pride myself on accuracy of reporting and apologize for any misinformation. So Martin Gallegos, who it seems like Martin might be on vacation or something. So Brent McGuire is hybrid filling in for Martin, and Brent McGuire, writer, reporter, researcher for Major League Baseball. Brent McGuire, who I guess was in the building, they're both, and Martin's retweeting Brent, going back and forth. Here's what A's manager Mark Kotsay had to say about Mason Miller's fractured pinky and the reporting provided by Martin Gallegos earlier today. And let's be honest here. Let's call a spade a spade. These are the A's.
Yeah.
Martin Gallegos is probably the closest to the A's.
Yes, 100%.
So I'm sure there's some level of respect and some level of Mark Kotsay knowing who Martin Gallegos
100%,
is.
yeah.
Okay? So this is what he had to say, Brent McGuire. There's some speculation, this is what Mark Kotsay had to say, and Brent McGuire reported it when they brought up, hey, Martin Gallegos is kind of getting called out on this by the agency.
Right.
This is what Mark Kotsay had to say. There's some speculation. The original statement about Miller fracturing his left pinky out of frustration is pretty accurate. Mason's agent might have thought differently and made a statement of his own. How we do things here in this organization is to tell the truth. The truth is, post-game Monday night, after being done with his pitching, Mason came in the training room and was going through his recovery. He was reminded that he had a post-game lift to get in. Out of a little frustration, he kind of pounded his fist down on a padded training table out of emotion. We've all been there, done that. Unfortunately, it resulted in a fracture in his non-pitching hand, in his left hand, where his pinky area is. So basically, he's saying I don't really care what the agency is saying because they think it might be a bad look for Mason Miller.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happened, and we're not going to have fake reports. And basically, it's a version of Mark Kotsay kind of riding for Martin Gallegos, who is, hey, man, we don't have a lot of guys covering the A's.
Yeah, right.
So we're not going to make this guy look bad because you're essentially embarrassed that your all-star closer did something he shouldn't have done.
Right, exactly. Yeah, 100%. I think that's actually really, really awesome from Mark Kotsay because you usually definitely don't see coaches, anyone involved in the organization, definitely back media. You know, that's always going to be a contentious relationship. I mean, we talked about Kyle Shanahan the other day calling out Grant Cohn in the middle of the press conference and saying, "Oh, knowing you, I probably didn't say that." I think that's the relationship for a majority of media with coaches and with players as well. And so, yeah, I think it's really great that Mark Kotsay kind of stuck his neck out for him. And also, I bet a piece of it is Mark Kotsay is thinking, yeah, Mason, that was really stupid.
Yeah.
And you don't get to hide from for hurting the team, really.
Right.
I mean, you know, we know that he is one of, if not the marquee star for the A's, and we can't have you missing games for us when we're playing the best stretch of baseball we played all season long. In maybe like 2-3 years, this is the best stretch of A's baseball that they've played, and we have our closer out because you hit your hand on a table because you forgot you had a post-game workout.
Right.
And you're going to have to actually miss time. And I know in baseball, these kind of random things happen like this, but you just can't have that. And if it's something embarrassing like that, it's understandable. Like, I mean, Kotsay even hedges there and says, look, we've all done that. We've all been there before where we just have a momentary lapse of judgment, but we're not going to lie about it because it's frankly something you should be embarrassed of.
It makes it worse.
And why are we going to lie? You know, what are we going to say? Oh, he hurt his finger in a pitching session or something. Why lie?
Did he catch the ball wrong?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
the camera is on you all the time. So what happened was that initial piece that I read from Martin, he deleted it.
Wow.
Because I think he deleted it once the agency reached out to him. And then that's why he's saying, hey, I retracted this. And then they retracted what I said. They retracted the retraction. And then Mark Kotsay comes out and says, there's some speculation, but this is what went down.
Can I tell you my Mason Miller moment?
Oh, please.
I did it once. And if my dad's listening right now, he's definitely going to laugh. One time, me and my dad were just watching something on TV in our living room. And we used to have like a little center, a coffee table, if you will. And we have like a little TV tray up on there, so where you put your remotes and stuff.
Sure.
And it's really just like a wood box without a lid to it. And I cannot stand flies. Flies drive me every time there's flies in the house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend all day with the fly swatter killing them until it's clear. There was a fly in the house.
Okay.
It landed right on the corner of the TV tray.
You got this.
I had it. I had it. And I just heard it buzz right by my, there's nothing worse than I wasn't sleeping, but when you're sleeping and a fly buzzes by your ear.
Right.
Top tier annoyance. I hear it. I see it land right on the corner, and I'm like, you don't know what you just did.
Right.
Alan, I grabbed the closest thing I could find, smack it. I missed, but I smacked that thing. I really gave it a good effort.
Okay.
I just instantly say, oh no. Alan, this is top tier dumbest thing I've ever done in my life.
Right.
I used my phone, Alan. I took my phone and I just smacked the corner of this TV tray.
Yeah.
Shattered my phone into like a million pieces. And it was just an instinct. And so I get it, Mason.
It's always close by.
I get it, Mason.
The phone is always a thought, and then you normally think
just
otherwise.
Just so dumb. It's
you have
like
to get a new phone.
I've never felt dumber in my life. Top 10, and it's not 9, it's not 8. It is number 1 on the dumbest things I've ever done in my life.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. So thanks, Mason, for bringing up that trauma.
Yeah.
So I get it, Mason Miller. You know, you don't want to work out. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, be careful there.
Yeah,
this might be softer than the the other thing is, what type of padding was that, or how hard did he hit the table?
We know it's the A's. I'm sorry. I know it's the A's facility, even though it's padded.
Yeah.
Who knows what it could be padded with?
Come on, man.
Metal chunks or something. Because it was $5 cheaper.
Yeah. So hopefully Mason Miller gets better soon. And I just wanted to call that out because I kind of feel bad for Martin Gallegos in that situation. He's not out here reporting fake news or whatever you want to call it. So hopefully Mason Miller gets better. And that agency, I'm sure I'm sure it's not the first time this has happened, but if you're gonna do it, at least don't get caught up. Don't get caught up. All right. As we stay in the AL West with the Mariners, who make a trade last night for Randy Arozarena, and Randy Arozarena started off pretty cold, but he has since really heated up, and that's what he does, Chris. So this is the full trade. Seattle Mariners receive outfielder Randy Arozarena. Tampa Bay Rays receive outfielder Aiden Smith, right-hander Brody Hopkins, and a player to be named last. So I don't know how that works. Maybe it'll get announced. Maybe it will not. But what are you getting with Randy Arozarena? Who, let me put it to you like this. I don't think that I'm not that high on Randy Arozarena. I know he should be one of my guys, and I do like him as a personality. Yeah. But I guess I like Randy Arozarena, but depending on what you would have had to give up to get him, if the Giants were to be buyers, I don't think it would have been enough. Mm-hmm. I think he can be a bit streaky. And what are you trying to get Randy Arozarena for? Here it is, Chris. Highest career slugging percentage in the postseason in MLB history. Minimum 100 plate appearances. Wow. Babe Ruth at 744, Lou Gehrig at 731, and Randy Arozarena at 690. He is third in Major League Baseball history when it comes to slugging percentage in the postseason. That's crazy. So that's what they're hoping. Obviously, J-Rod Julio Rodriguez has not been it for the Mariners this season. He's been injured and things like that. So the Mariners are trying to make this push to get back into the postseason. And that's where he cooks. But I would say, smaller outfielder, right-handed. Yep. I don't know that I would have loved him in San Francisco. It would have depended on what he would have cost for San Fran. If you're talking, if the deal is whatever that equivalent is for the Mariners, Hayden Birdsong and Marco Luciano, I don't think I'm doing that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I think Randy's a really fun player. I think he's definitely, the numbers speak for itself. He's definitely a good player, but I don't know if he's the kind of guy who, the Giants kind of feel like they not need a savior, but they kind of need somebody who's going to consistently bring a really big bat. And, Arozarena has been very, very streaky. In a way, it kind of, to me, feels a bit like what I just laid out with Brock Purdy with the Panthers, where if the Giants were to go after him, he kind of feels like that line of he's good. He's definitely good, but I kind of feel like if we're gonna go make this big move, we should probably go get somebody that's a little bit more bona fide of, oh no, this guy can be a star. Yeah. Randy Arozarena kind of lives in that Jimmy Butler middle area.
You know who he is? That's a good shout. Is he Jimmy Butler? He's a Jimmy Butler. He's a Jamal Murray type deal. Yeah. Where when the lights are bright, cool.
Yeah, he's there.
That was the whole thing with Carlos Correa, right? And I think he was an all-star last season. But Carlos Correa, when he would do the time after the home run, it's my time, because they show up in the postseason. That's cool. Yeah. But if I'm giving up Hayden Birdsong, and I'm just making up a deal here, Hayden Birdsong and Marco Luciano, I need Pete Alonso.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I need, and I like Randy Arozarena. I think he's great for the game of baseball, but I'm personally not doing that deal. But I do think the Giants should do something, whether they decide to buy or sell. And speaking of, what is that? That is Around the Horn, and we'll get to Around the Horn as that comes to a close, but that is later in the show. Chris, real quick, this is from the 916. Here's a fun little tidbit for flies. Flies cannot see white. So next time, grab some toilet paper or paper towel, and you can walk right up to them and grab them. No joke. That's from JT.
That is a life hack and a
half. JT, we're gonna take your word for it.
That's incredible.
And if you're listening now, we've turned into
the extermination hour.
Yes, Fly-a-Dial Dundee. Okay, starring JT, the Stiles and Watkins.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so hopefully we haven't had any flies in here so far, but if we do, there's a little tidbit. Flies cannot see white.
Wow.
Thank you to JT. I've never heard that before. All right, coming up next, if you like Drew Timme, if you like Mason Jones, then this segment is for you. We got the best G League stories. Will Drew Timme be the next? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
What's the missing piece for the 49ers?
Which names will they add during free agency? Whether it's in season or off season, the coverage never stops. Get the latest 49ers news on Sacktown Sports at sacktownsports.com.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health, and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers too. Consultation's free, and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Summer is finally here, and so are all the best deals on DeWalt Power Tools at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet in Sacramento. Drills, impacts, circular saws, you name it, we have it for the best price in town, guaranteed. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned tradesman, we've got all the DeWalt products you need to crush your next project. So come on down to Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet today on Power and Road for better tools at better prices. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
Now here's what I want you all to do for me.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
And right on cue, there is breakdancing going on as Mongolia is now riding in their boat. 32 athletes for Mongolia, and there's breakdancing going on.
Love it.
We have it on mute, so we can't hear what they're breakdancing to, but there is some breakdancing going on. I would love it if they were just breakdancing to classical music.
Yeah.
Just getting down
Some
real quick.
classical French music.
Nate, and look, this is, somewhat fair, somewhat foul. We have people, we know you guys and ladies are in and out of your cars, and you might not hear everything as far as the bits that we do and why we're doing it. But just real quick, Nate got a call, and the question was, hey, I'm not really understanding why you guys are rolling your R's with the Randy Arozarena. It's an inside joke with one of our producers here, Kyle Ledbetter, and basically Kyle does it, and we love Kyle, and we're just kind of giving him a hard time. But with that being said, Chris and I are both of Latin descent, Chris being Mexican, and my mom being from Panama. So there's nothing, we're not making fun of anybody.
No malice.
Yeah, there's no malice behind anything.
Well,
but
a little malice, but we're just making fun of Kyle.
Yes,
That's the only malice
we're just having some fun with Kyle. Chris's mom, Mexican, my mom, Panamanian. So we're just having some fun with it. But yeah, if you weren't aware of that and you just tuned in, maybe you weren't sure. If you are a P0 listener, then you probably did know what we were talking about. But definitely no malice there. Yeah. My mom would literally grab me through the phone if she thought that we were making fun in any sort of way. But Kyle can maybe take some.
Yeah.
Kyle
please,
can get upset
that's what
with
we're
us.
trying to lead to here.
Yes, but
get mad at Kyle, please.
Yes, but we're just having some fun with it on a Friday as Randy Arozarena.
Yeah, is that better?
Yes.
Is that better? Because it doesn't seem better to me.
Goes to the Seattle Mariners. I wanted to get into this Clutch Points article, Chris. This is from January 18th of this year from Spencer C. The 10 most successful G League vets in the NBA.
Ooh,
and
that's interesting.
And you can try to guess them if you want. One, I'll tell you this. One doesn't make sense to me. One is a cop-out.
Okay.
Because he played, basically he went to he's G League Ignite. So it shouldn't count.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll spoil this one for you, and I'll let you guess some of the others.
Okay.
The first one they have at number 10 is, unlike other players on this list, Jalen Green played in the G League by suiting up for the Ignite. So, Spencer C., we love Brett Siegel and everything. Yeah. I don't know, Spencer. You could have found somebody else.
Probably.
Do you want to guess any others? These are all, let me double check. Okay.
Ooh,
there's
this
one.
Is so interesting. Okay.
One is recently not active.
Okay.
Oh, and really, one is recently, I don't know if he's retired, but he's not playing. The other is kind of in that same category, but very recent. Now, really, it's going to come down to how much time did they spend in the G League that Spencer is counting. But if you get one of these, and I can give you hints if you want, If you get one of these, I'd be pretty impressed.
I think I can guess one. I don't know if he'll make a recent list, but Jeremy Lin.
Jeremy Lin is not on this list. I think that's too
crazy.
old. I think it's too he's too old.
Legend.
I think it's too old. Think more recent. I'll tell you this. One of them, as I read this list, one of them played 16 games. So I don't know why this person is on the list.
Okay. Yeah, that's not quite a G League success story. Let's say I don't think Poku's on that list. I would not consider him successful. G League.
I mean, there's an obvious one.
There's an obvious G League player that's
yes, he's the most famous G League story the last 7 years. NBA champ, got bagged out.
Fred VanVleet.
That's right.
Okay.
Fred VanVleet at number 6.
Yeah, I completely
So
forgot.
they have Jalen Green at number 10.
Okay.
Kevon Looney was the guy at number 9. Kevon Looney suited up for the Santa Cruz Warriors for 16 games across 2 seasons. In the G League,
I know. Through 2 seasons.
I know. He earned a career average of 10.5 points and 8.4 rebounds per outing.
Wow.
But while Stephen Curry runs the show in Golden State, Looney helped anchor the team's front court en route to championships.
Okay.
Number
G-League
8.
veteran.
Here you go. Number 8, PJ Tucker.
Oh, okay. That's a great G League success story.
Right. The first
what it
two,
should
maybe
be.
we'll heat up here.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
Before finally making an NBA roster in 2012, Tucker started his basketball journey in the developmental league. He played for the Colorado 14ers, now called the Texas Legends. Tucker
it's bad when
Yeah.
your G League team doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, Tucker averaged 10.7 points, 3.4 rebounds, 2.1 assists. Afterwards, he went overseas before landing a roster spot with the Phoenix Suns. Since then, Tucker has emerged as one of the best two-way players of the game. He also helped the Bucks secure the franchise first NBA title in 50 years. Sometimes I forget he was on that Bucks team.
I know. I was thinking that too.
Number 7, Serge Ibaka.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Serge
These
Ibaka,
are
he's
in the
getting
spirit
warmer
of it.
now.
Yes, these are better.
Serge Ibaka is one of the most accomplished international big men in the NBA.
Yeah.
He has a 3-time all-defensive on his
crazy.
list, led the league in blocks twice, and won an NBA championship with the Raptors. The Raptors, just a G League
That's right. Yeah.
combination
Factory,
in 2019, but after recovering from back surgery, the Clippers assigned him to their G League affiliate, to the Agua Caliente Clippers. In 4 games, Ibaka averaged 15.5 points, 9.3 boards per game. We talked about Fred VanVleet. I mean, he's probably the craziest story.
Yeah.
Fred VanVleet honed his skills for the Raptors 905. He dominated the competition, averaging 22 points, 11.5 assists, and 6 rebounds per game. He signed with the Houston Rockets free agency and got bagged out. Number 5, we've talked about him before, Jordan Clarkson.
Okay.
Jordan Clarkson has established himself as one of the best scorers in the game. He was an all-rookie team member and won 6th Man of the Year 6 years later. Clarkson is currently one of the main stars for Utah Jazz. However, there's no question that he honed some of his tricks in the G League in the 2014-2015 season. Clarkson suited up in 5 games for the Los Angeles Defenders, tallying 22.6 points, 7.8 assists,
South Bay Lakers.
and 5.0 rebounds.
Wow.
Pascal Siakam at number 4, while
that's a
Kawhi
great
Leonard
one.
was the main.
Dang, another Raptor.
That's right.
What is going on?
That brought the Raptors to the pinnacle of the NBA. Pascal also played a pivotal role during the 2019 championship, but aside from Fred VanVleet, he also that team was probably cooking.
Yeah,
by
that's
the way.
ridiculous.
He also showcased his wares first with the Raptors 905 by winning a championship in the G League and becoming the Finals MVP. Number 3, Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton had a tough road en route to his NBA career. In fact, he had to showcase his wares in the G League to help earn a spot in the Detroit Pistons roster. Although it didn't work out with the Pistons, he got his major break with the Bucks. Since then, Middleton has become an NBA champion and has had 3 NBA All-Star appearances. Middleton is also the first G League veteran to be named to the annual festivities. Number 2, Danny Green. While Danny Green isn't the star for the teams he's played for, he's served as one of the best 3-and-D players in the NBA. He's also one of the most seasoned players in the G League, playing for 3 different teams across 2 seasons. Fast forward to today, Green has become a one-time all-defensive team member and has 3 NBA championships to his name. He's only one of 4 players to win 3 championships with 3 different teams. And number 1, this better be good. This better be a good, lead up. Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert initially started as a raw prospect from France. In order to develop him further, Rudy was assigned to the Bakersfield Jam. In the G League, he was a double-double machine, averaging 13.9 points and 11.4 rebounds per game. Gobert successfully translated his G League stint into the NBA. He is a 3-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA team selection, 6 all-defensive team, first-team selections, and 3 defensive player of the year. And I would say, what is it now? Now 4. Now 4. Gobert also led the league in rebounds and blocks on 2 separate occasions. So there are that many guys, Chris, that just have never touched G League.
Yeah, I mean,
if they're not on the, because if he's counting Kevon Looney with 16 games, there's some dudes that just don't touch it at all.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, but I'm surprised to your point that like Jokic as a 2nd round pick, I guess, never played in the G League. Like Draymond never played in the G League as a 2nd round pick. It is a bit surprising that there's not more guys. But even then, I mean, you do have a pretty solid list of some all pro guys. I mean, the top 3, you had Siakam, you got Gobert. I definitely think that that's a fairly decent list, but yeah, I mean, at the same time, like Giannis never spent time in the G League or anything
That's
like
what I'm
that.
saying. It's got to be more than 16 games.
I would think so, but yeah, I mean, nonetheless, I think it's definitely a good sign that, not a good sign, but just in general, the G League, just because people are down there, Keon Ellis, people talk about, Keon was in the G League a year ago. Like, what are we talking about? He's going to be a starter. It's just not necessarily meaning that you're of a certain low quality or anything like that. It just means that you needed a little bit of extra time, that your big club couldn't afford you the developmental minutes, and so you had to get some work in and work some things out like everybody does. Like Keegan Murray could have, in theory, instead of, the Kings stressing about, he needs, obviously Keegan's the number 4 pick, but in theory, Keegan could have gone down to the G League and really dominated, been a point guard, been more of a ball handler, if that's the route the Kings wanted to go with developing him. But obviously, being a number 4 pick, that's not going to happen. I'm more just saying the G League is more just as it says, it's meant for development. And that's all it is. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad player if you're down there. It just means that you have some things that you have to work on that you can't really afford to have you work through it with the big club.
As we discuss Brock Purdy and his future bag, one AFC quarterback from Miami gets the bag right now. We'll talk about it. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Coach Doug Christie here to remind you, if you're in the market for a new car, shop Folsom Lake Kia. Low interest rates, low payments, and 0 down deals with approval of credit. Folsom Lake Kia, over 25 years, right here in Folsom.
This is it. Shop the Lowe's Closeout event to get up to 70% off select major appliances for your home. Plus, get up to 60% off select patio furniture and accessories for your outdoor spaces. So hurry into your local store today, because these deals are too good to last. Shop them now before they're gone, because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/7 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We now have unlimited data that never slows you down. Covered by the Verizon 5G network. And for less than $30 a month, we make your phone your ride or die. Switch now and pick a free 5G phone with qualified plan purchase. And your 4th line at no additional cost. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence dyne test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the 2nd largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
If you've been on the American River, it's uphill, it's downhill. There's trails everywhere that you can walk, and it just makes you happy. And I couldn't walk, and it was terrible. I was turning into a real crab. I went to the Good Feet store, and I tried on the arch supports. I could not believe that I was not in pain. I can walk, I can run, I can jump, I can do anything. My name's Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Hey, what's up? Kyle Draper for Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. I've had my new Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV for about 6 months now, and it's still the best car driving experience that I've ever had. And I got some news for you. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton doesn't just have cars or SUVs, they also have Sprinter vans, and they have special rates starting at 4.9% APR and an $8,000 discount on over 30 vans in stock. So head on down there right now to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton and check out their new Sprinter vans. Just a short drive right off the 5 in Stockton.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. For your Friday forecast, we're staring at mostly sunny skies, feeling a bit of a breeze as it's occasionally gusty this afternoon. Highs will peak today in the low to mid 90s with overnight lows in the upper 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Shout out Spotrac, already updated with Tua.
Really?
Getting the bag. It is being reported that Tua has agreed to terms on a 4-year, $212.4 million contract to lock him in long term with the Miami Dolphins. That puts Tua, Chris, here at the 10th. Well, Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow are tied at $275 million. We're still waiting for Tua's guarantee, and that's probably going to come out shortly. But Tua comes in at number 10 now for the highest paid QB at $212 million. Actually, $400,000 more than Nate's number 10 quarterback on his list, Jared Goff. Jared Goff bumps down to number 11. Kirk Cousins is at $180 million. And yeah, man, actually, excuse me, there's only one guy. Well, I think that they are all the most paid, but not right after that was Nick Bosa. So let me get this to only quarterbacks. I don't think that's going to change very much.
It's Burrow 1. Burrow and Lawrence are tied at 1.
He's still, he's number 10. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Technically, 2.
So they're all the top 10 highest paid players are quarterbacks anyway. So that didn't make a difference.
That's
and yeah, man, Tua in at number 10. He's not on any of our top 10 lists unless somebody has him at number 1. What do you make of it?
I have Tua at number 3 in terms of payment. Highest paid player. I have Joe Burrow at 55, Lawrence at 55, Tua at 53.1.
Oh, so I was doing it by contract. You're doing it by
average. I'm sorry. I'm doing it by average per year. I'm sorry. So that's actually pretty interesting too.
I don't know if you mentioned too, 167 guaranteed.
Oh,
yes, Spotrac didn't have that yet. So what's the number?
167 million guaranteed. So the whole contract's 212. That's about almost 40 million that he's got to earn.
Got
if
it.
My math is right.
So they have this on Spotrac. They have guarantee at sign, and then they have practical guarantee, and everybody else has two different numbers.
Okay.
But yeah, that practical, just to put that out there, that practical guarantee, trying to get it.
That's with like likely
here.
incentives, I would guess. Like some incentives are like throw 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in a season, and I assume that would be something that's not factored into the number you're about to read.
What's the number you had, Nate?
I think he said 161 million.
Guaranteed 167.
167.
So, but yeah, he is 53 mil a year about that.
Wow,
that's a lot.
That is a whole lot.
I'm seeing.
And Tua was in none of our. Wait, Nate, was he in your top?
No,
10?
no.
Yeah,
no,
I was
no.
like, I didn't think he was in
I had
any of our top 10.
Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, and Jared Goff above him.
Yeah,
and a lot of it is because of injury, but also he's small. I mean, he's just a gunslinger, right? Like that's what he does, he's got the players for that, so it works. It's not very high on Tua.
So here are some of the guarantees in front of Tua. Number 1, Deshaun Watson at $230 million. Number 2, Joe Burrow at $219 million. Number 3, Justin Herbert at $218 million. Trevor Lawrence at $200 million. Lamar Jackson at $185 million. Jalen Hurts at $179 million. Jared Goff a little bit more, guaranteed $170 million, and then Tua at $167. He beats out Kyler Murray at $159 million.
Okay, I think that's a better frame of reference for Tua.
Sure,
right? Like that.
Yes,
Tua's not third. Like in terms of yearly salary, the fact that he's third doesn't sound right. But guaranteed money, it sounds like he's more near 10,
12 area. Yeah.
That feels better. If I'm a Dolphins fan, I feel a lot better about that's the number that I'm going to throw when people say, can you believe they're paying Tua that much per year? I'm going to say, well, actually, the only things that we have guaranteed is like more so the 12th highest paid quarterback, which is, again, probably about right. Like, I think Tua, the reason why I would say that's perfect is because I definitely think Tua is that. He can be better than that. He can perform. You can definitely get a discount from Tua's performance based off of that number. I'm pretty confident he can live up to around that. But, I mean, I don't know if everybody else still feels this way, but the concussion stuff for me, I can't get over that. Like, I think that doesn't go away. And I think that especially when you have it that early in your career, everybody always says once you get one concussion, the second one is that much easier to get. And then the third one is that much easier to get. If I'm not mistaken, Tua got 3 concussions in the span of like 5 weeks.
Right.
I just don't think that kind of thing goes away. And he's also just had other injuries in the past. He is a smaller quarterback as well, which isn't talked about a ton. I think the dollar figure is right. But at the same time, I don't know what I would do if Tua was my quarterback. Exactly.
It's that second tier, and there are quarterbacks out there better than Tua. Have you found them yet? Are they going to reveal themselves? But there are quarterbacks that are worse than Tua. I saw something, the Dolphins, a reporter saying that Tua sat out, or I don't think it was an official holdout, but he wasn't practicing earlier this week. And I don't know who the backups are, but it didn't look right. And it always makes, hey, well, this is how it could be with you. But at the same time, it's okay. Well, they're the backups for a reason. And that a couple of years ago where the Dolphins, they had some random quarterbacks rolling out.
Yeah,
and
Matt Moore and the most randoms you can find.
I'm looking here at the
Tannehill.
Tannehill.
He was their starter, and then he got hurt.
It was Mike White. Oh, how could I forget? Mike White and Skylar Thompson.
Yes, Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, the two backups. So you pay your guy, and that doesn't mean we know how it is in the NFL. There's so much money flying around. They are, they're not afraid to move off of somebody even after they say you're our guy, but you're our guy for a certain amount of time.
Do you think Tua can win a Super Bowl?
No.
Like, there's no world, right? I mean, like how good of a team does he have to? Because I mean, I would say the Dolphins have done a great job putting talent around him. Obviously Tyreek Hill, obviously Jalen Waddle. I saw that in that top 100 football players list. I don't know if y'all saw this, Nate. I'm actually curious what you think. Were he Mozart number 60?
I saw that
in the NFL for top 100. kind of crazy. But anyway, I mean, like, what is the hope with Tua as your quarterback? I don't mean to ask as a slight, but I seriously want, like, is there a world, not just you, Alan, but like Dolphins fans out there, how many of there are there, do you feel confident, especially in the AFC, where you got to beat, even if it's not a combination of all of them, it is some variation of these quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, just to name a few. We're not doing the Justin Herberts, Trevor Lawrences of the world either. You've got to get through that in order to be successful. And I don't know, maybe Tua can beat one of them in a given week, but do you expect him to make a multi-round run? I don't know if I see that.
I'll tell you what the path is. The path, and it's going to sound funny because we've done this with Brock Purdy, and at least Brock Purdy was coming back from, I guess Tua was coming back from not arm injury, but the concussions, and Brock Purdy coming back from UCL, as people said, can't throw a wet ball, don't want to see Brock in cold weather. Here's the path. The path is what the Niners just did. You have to get the number 1 seed, so everyone has to come to Miami.
Right.
You don't have to go to frigid
Buffalo,
Kansas
are you
City.
kidding
You don't
me?
have to go to Buffalo. And then the Super Bowl, Chris, is in New Orleans. So that's the
indoors,
path. And the Super Bowl is always going to be in a warm weather place.
Or indoors.
So the path for the Dolphins, it's very tight, but the path is staying away from cold weather areas.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins,
especially in January and February,
you have
man.
you have to put yourself, and we can look at the Dolphins schedule. You have to put yourself in a position to where, hey, we're just essentially selling the cold weather game. So here's the Dolphins schedule. So you have to win every home game, which is, I think, the toughest part.
Yes, if you're talking about doing what you're talking about in terms of being the one
you have
seed.
the Jags at home, gotta win. Bills at home, gotta win. Then you go to Seahawks, but it's in September. You probably need to win that. You get the Titans at home, gotta win that. You go to the Patriots early, gotta win that. You go to the Colts, the Colts have a dome, right?
Yes.
Colts, gotta win that. Then you get the Cardinals at home, gotta win that. You sell that November game against the Bills in Buffalo, fine. There's your loss. And again, I'm not saying they're gonna win.
Right.
I'm saying this is the path.
Yes,
You go to LA, gotta win that. That's LA. You get the Raiders at home, another win. Patriots at home, gotta get that. Packers on the road in November, sell it. Okay, Dolphin, you get the Jets at home, gotta win that. Texans are in Houston, gotta win it. Niners at home, you're probably gonna lose that one. That's okay. Cleveland in December, sell. Dolphins, you gotta go to New York, that's a sell.
What? That's like 4 or 5 losses.
That's 4 or 5 losses, and does that get you the 1 seed?
And that's if you play the schedule perfectly, like
exactly.
You just laid out.
And does 12-5 get you the 1 seed? Maybe.
But there's a lot of stiff competition out there. Yeah,
that's the path. It's a skinny path, but every path for every team has a different width.
Yes,
right,
yeah, for sure.
With Patrick Mahomes, it's wide. And I don't have to say I'm not going to use I'm not going to use an example like Charles Barkley, but it's wide. Okay, then
San Antonio wide.
Then you have Brock Purdy, not as wide, but I'd say wider than Tua.
I would say so. Yeah,
right.
I mean, we just saw it.
Then you have the Burrows and the Josh Allens.
Yeah.
It's what can you overcome?
Yeah.
And I think Tua, there's so much that he would have to overcome. You have to play it perfectly, and we're going to see if they're able to do it. Okay, the time has come. 12:45. The first Stiles and Watkins, What Are We Doing segment. We are going to have a lot of fun with this one. It's a Friday. It's a fun day. Let's get into it. When we get back, what are we doing? Whitey, I hope you're listening.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
There was always a crowd gathered around our dining table when I was growing up. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Everyone was welcome at my mother's table, so holidays, birthdays, and celebrations always included family and friends. I used to think I was the most popular kid in the neighborhood until I realized that my friends were really there for my mother's incredible cooking. Years later, when I bought my own dining table from Naturewood, I made sure it was large enough to make friends feel welcome. And right now, During Naturewood Home Furnishings Dine in Style sale, you have an opportunity to find the perfect dining room furniture to help you create your own treasured memories. Choose from casual to formal or anything in between. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings during the Dine in Style sale off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Where do you go when you need someone to represent you? For me, you want someone that is local and that you can actually get to and talk with. There are plenty of big branded lawyers out there with the name, but you never get to talk to them. So go to saclegaldefense.com and connect with the law offices of Jonathan Gonzalez. He's local, he'll represent you, and he'll have your back. Whether it's expungements, wrongful termination, when you're in a spot when you need legal help, call the law offices of Jonathan Gonzalez at 916-304-9187.
Hey, get ready to rock, groove, and have a blast with the Sacktown Sports Live Events calendar. We've got an unbeatable lineup of shows that you won't want to miss. It's Brett Young and Chase Rice at Thunder Valley on August 3rd. Plus, Jason Mraz and the Superband will be rocking Thunder Valley on August 9th. Then head out of the heat to higher elevation for the Truckee Music Festival on August 9th and 10th, featuring Kip Moore and Sublime. And here's your Live Nation lineup. On August 4th, don't miss the Outlaw Music Festival at Toyota Amphitheater featuring Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and John Mellencamp. On August 15th, catch Donnie Osmond at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. Then on August 22nd, Creed Fisher takes the stage at Ace of Spades. And on September 10th, enjoy the timeless sounds of the Doobie Brothers at Toyota Amphitheater. Rounding out this rockin' lineup is the Lodi Grape Festival from September 12th through the 15th, featuring Joe Nichols and Smash Mouth. For information and tickets, visit grapefestival.com. And then stay tuned to Sacktown Sports for exclusive updates and your chance to win tickets.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. On your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
What are we doing? This could be sponsored by you. If you are a small business, medium-sized business, big business out there, what are we doing? Sponsored by blank. It could be sponsored by you. Nate, let's get that music going. Thank you. Of course. Let's start here. And I know some people on the Sack chat are going to think that I'm being a little bit Carmichael Dave here, but I promise you I'm not. You know I got love because there's only one nation, Raider Nation. But what are we doing? Raiders fan brings a Kermit puppet dressed as Patrick Mahomes to training camp, and some players decide to wear it, okay? And a lot of people didn't know that the Raiders didn't create it, that a fan brought it, but that doesn't matter to me.
I didn't know.
You cannot do, and that's the whole point.
Exactly.
I don't think it necessarily matters, but you're having fun at the GOAT's expense or possibly the future GOAT's expense. Here's RG3 on it. The Raiders have a Patrick Mahomes Kermit Frog puppet at training camp. The man is 10-2 against the Raiders. Chiefs have won 8 straight AFC West titles, and they just guaranteed themselves a butt whooping they won't forget. Honestly. That is what RG3 had to say. Mo Moton, who is the NFL analyst for Bleacher Report, Mo says, I'm old enough to remember the Raiders bus taking victory laps in Arrowhead, Raiders players stomping on the Chiefs logo before kickoff, Chiefs playing Ring Around the Rosie while whooping the Raiders. Add these Kermit antics to the list of silly things rivals do. Enjoy your day. Basically nothing to see here. I'm sorry, Mo, I like you. We follow each other on social media, but I can't ride for that. That's a bad look for the Raiders. If I was the Raiders, I would see the Kermit, I would laugh. I'm not getting caught dead, Chris, saying anything or wearing it. So Patrick Mahomes was asked about it, and this is what he had to say.
I know you've probably seen the video of the Raiders with the market. Of you. Is that something that you kind of compartmentalize and use when you get ready to play them?
Yeah, I mean, it's still early in the year. Kind of stuff like that happens. It'll get handled when it gets handled.
I mean, he does sound like Kermit. Don't get me wrong.
It'll get handled when
but
it gets handled.
It's not as scary and menacing as he probably would like it to be. But he just said straight up, it'll get handled when it gets handled. Yep. And I'm telling you right now, Chris, you got to see them Chiefs twice. So Raiders, what the heck are we doing?
Yeah. It almost feels like this segment was made for this moment. Because, I mean, it's
bad.
Why poke the bear? Why do you already know, 10-2 against the Raiders all time. You don't need to incentivize him anymore. He probably, honestly, wasn't thinking about you before.
Yeah.
It was probably better that way.
Right.
You want to keep a predator at bay.
Yeah.
You should probably keep him sleeping, and now.
And the Raiders beat the Chiefs on Christmas or one of those games?
That's right.
It might have been their last loss.
It probably was. I just, from somebody who, Alan, we talked about during the basketball season, I hate it when Klay Thompson talks about not being drafted by the Kings. I can't stand it when CJ McCollum says, "Oh, I had a little bit something extra for this team because they missed on me." Patrick Mahomes is not going to forget that your players are actively mocking him like he's a joke.
And it was funny. It was funny.
Well, there's not going to be anything funny about what Patrick Mahomes does to the defense. I know the Raiders are very, very – they're relying on their defense this season because I know it's not Gardner Minshew, and I know it's not Zamir White that's going to lead them to the promised land if there is any promised land this year. And good job, Raiders defense. You just signed up for not just one day, but 2 games of getting absolutely demolished.
Terrible.
There's no way Patrick Mahomes isn't going to have a little bit something extra for you.
Andy Reid was asked about it. He says, we don't spend a lot of time here with puppets.
Do it to Justin Herbert. Do it to Justin Herbert, somebody who might not be able to hurt you later. Come on.
And if I'm Antonio Pierce, I'm losing it. Guys, first of all, I don't know if he was aware that it was happening, but if I'm Antonio Pierce, I'm livid, okay? And we have some sound for that. It's a very quick answer. We'll play some of that later in the show.
Look at the U.S. boat. Sorry to distract you.
There's the U.S. boat is going right now.
The U.S. boat is absolutely packed.
What are we doing, Raiders? Okay, number 2 on the what are we doing? Family Feud. It was a celebrity family feud with Tori Kelly, who's a singer, and her family, and I'm not sure who they were going up against, but Steve Harvey had to apologize to the people because there was a category of rappers. So first we're going to play what set off Steve Harvey when you go through the names, and we played a Family Feud type show here on Friday Fun and Games, and then we're going to play Steve Harvey's apology. This is what happened when they were trying to guess the best rappers.
Let's go. Anthony, who's the greatest rapper of all time? Jay-Z. Number 1. Jay-Z. Oh, damn. Whoa. Oh, y'all tripping. Yeah. Really? Come on. Hey. We in Rhode Island again? Where we at?
So Jay-Z comes at number 8 or number 7 last.
Nas? I think of rappers.
Tupac is 2 and Biggie is 6 as well.
Right. That's already been revealed.
I don't think that's who answers
Those are
these
probably
questions.
the answers.
Andre, we got 1 strike. Who's the greatest rapper of all time? Eminem. He's a bad
solid
boy.
answer.
Eminem.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Third. Kayla, who's the greatest rapper of all time?
Snoop Dogg?
Snoop Dogg.
Makes sense. Okay.
1.
Snoop Dogg was number 1.
It's number 1.
So that happened, and then throughout the back and forth, this is what Steve Harvey had to say about the whole category.
Before we flip over these last 3, I want to apologize to the entire hip-hop community. Jay-Z's last. What the world? Number 7.
50 Cent.
5.
LL Cool J.
That's a bad boy. Number 4.
Dr. Dre's a producer.
Yeah,
Dr. Dre's a producer.
That's a rough
definitely
list. So what are we doing? I never know who these polls are of.
Who is the survey?
And when we played the game here, even with Jason, I there was one thing, because I think we were going back and forth and we were on the same team, and we both thought it was a great answer, not on the list.
Yeah.
Whoever got picked, what are we doing? Snoop Dogg number one.
Number one is crazy.
It's crazy. I think maybe top 10. Yeah,
top 10 for sure.
Yeah. Snoop Dogg number one is,
number
and
one
I know
is
he's carrying the torch that looks like a J.
Right.
Yeah.
So they didn't have Tupac or Biggie as number one, which is
Or,
like
or was it
understandable.
Eminem number two, or Tupac was number two?
I just found something out last week about Biggie. I don't know if it's him or Diddy or the record label or whatever. They kind of stole the entire Notorious B1. Look it up. Notorious B1. He has a song that sounds just like Juicy. Maybe we could play it on the air. It's crazy. It came out in 93 when I think Juicy came out in 95. He kind of stole everything. It's very, very strange. Very weird.
So let's have Notorious B1 on the list.
Have B1 on the list, but Snoop Dogg at number one. What are we doing?
That's insane.
What are we doing? Okay, we will get that response from one Antonio Pierce on the other side. But this has been What Are We Doing? Also, Robert Ory says the game winner against Sac was the biggest shot of his career. Why are we bringing up old stuff, Robert? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Hi, Michael Dave here for Capital Casino. Sacramento summertime heat is back. And of course, Cap Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, wants to invite everyone to soak up some air conditioning, still with the most variety of table games in the region. And as always, the best food, best service, and the best action, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. Capital Casino, of course, reminding everyone to please make sure you gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sacramento, Dirks Bentley's coming to town. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo for Country in the Park 2. And he's bringing some friends. Parmalee, Tyler Rich, Dasha, Kelsey Hart, and more. Saturday, September 28th at Hart Health Park at Cal Expo. Get your tickets today before they're sold out at CITPFest.com. Brought to you by The Scoundrel Red Wine, Naturewood Home Furnishings, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sacktown Sports. Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
So Antonio Pierce, the audio was basically him saying, we've already discussed it and we nipped it in the bud. That's what he said. And if you watch the video, he's clearly ticked off. Raiders, I just don't understand. So this is the song, Nate?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Are we sure it's clean?
Yes, yeah. This is Clean Music Lover on YouTube, and I went through and listened.
I mean, the beat is exactly the same.
Yeah,
maybe they paid him though.
Yeah, this could just be a reference track.
Yeah, this is a dude from Mississippi too, so not from like New York. There's like conspiracies around it, but yeah. And his name's Notorious B1. I think that's the problem. You're a G away from.
Well, I just feel like I would feel, especially with Diddy involved, I feel like this has probably been handled at some level.
Yeah.
Yeah, like is B1 still
not
breathing?
Like that.
I mean, that's how Homeboy handles his situation.
Legally.
Dang.
I don't think he handles things legally.
We should do a one day music conspiracy segment. Maybe get into it a bit, see what we believe and what we don't.
There's just a lot of conspiracies, period, that you can get into, but it depends on what.
I'm just talking music.
Okay.
Talking Tupac.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Holograms.
I think we just got an answer to the Tupac thing too, from what I saw the other day.
Holograms.
What did you see the other day?
There was some court documents that apparently came out that confirmed that Diddy did in fact pay $1 million for the assassination.
I saw they had a guy in a courtroom.
They've had it for a while.
Only $1 million?
Ryan Keefe, I think his name is. He's the one who they're alleging is the shooter, and allegedly Diddy not in passing, but kind of threw it out at one point, and what didn't make it clear if it was a joke or if it was a serious offer. He just kind of said it aloud, and
right.
You say certain things to certain people, and you shouldn't be surprised when certain things happen.
Yeah,
right.
People think Suge Knight killed Eazy-E too, because he went on like the Tonight Show and said some crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, I hear you. Well, we're not doing
save
it
for
now.
the segment.
Yeah, we're not doing the segment before the segment. This one is about Robert Horry, who says the game winner versus Sack was the biggest shot of his career. How do you feel about that?
That's how I feel. Shut up.
Hey, you're the one who put it on here.
I sure did. And I don't know why. No. I mean, it's just, I think it's interesting that interesting probably isn't the right word, but I just thought, of all the, Robert Horry is, I hate the fact that I just said his name. Honestly, it should be one of the banned words on this station. I'll just call him Bob. How about that?
Yep.
So when I say Bob, I'm talking about the guy who hit that one shot that one time. But that's actually funny enough. That's the thing, is that Bob has hit multiple shots. Like Bob is not just, I think maybe here in Sacramento for, people who don't follow basketball a lot, or maybe are like me and was born a little bit before Robert Horry's time or after Robert Horry's time. God, I just said it again. What did I just say? He won titles with the Rockets. He was a good young bench piece for them. And then eventually, kind of carved out a role, and he won titles with, like I said, the Rockets, the Lakers, the Spurs. I mean, he went through the full gambit, and the fact that even still he thinks that shot that he hit that one time is the biggest moment of his career. And he says, I thought this quote was interesting. I've made a lot of big shots, hence the nickname Big Shot Bob. That shot is the only one where you just mention it and I get goosebumps, because to me, making that shot was like the birth of my kids. That's how special it is to me, because I grew up a Laker fan. I grew up a big Magic Johnson fan. To be able to knock down that shot in Staples and have fans chant my name, God, I'm just, my blood is boiling just reading this. It's the greatest feeling. And he's talking about this being the greatest moment of his life. When I go to meet my maker, my goodness, when I go to meet my maker, I want that video played at my funeral. It's the best moment of my basketball career.
Wow.
My God. I mean, at least it means as much to him as it does to us, I guess, is like the only consolation, right? It's like, I can't remember what movie it is, but I want to say it's Avengers. It's probably not, but there's a big bad, and it's like, do you remember killing my father? And it's just like, no, actually, I don't remember, because I've killed so many people that, it's just another death. Yeah. I don't even know who you are. So at the very least, in a weird, sick way, there is a consolation of at least it meant something to him. It wasn't just a shot he hit that, oh yeah, I always forget I did that. And it's always a great reminder to see it played. Very, very, very small consolation prize, because obviously, if he doesn't hit that shot, Kings go up 3-1 in that series. It's probably a wrap at that point. Kings go on to play the New Jersey Nets in the NBA Finals and probably win a title. And then, I mean, we can go into a rabbit hole. I mean, if they win a title in 02-03, the Maloofs might be a universe where the Maloofs are still the owners. Maybe there's a world where the Maloofs sell earlier. We have different owners. Maybe we're still playing in Arco Arena, but an updated version of Arco Arena. It's just the ultimate wormhole you can get into. It's the ultimate sliding door moment where if that thing doesn't happen, if Vlade doesn't tip it, if he grabs it, if he tips it all the way to the back court, how are things different? It's of course the biggest moment in Sacramento Kings history, unfortunately, probably because of the sliding doors moment, even though Bibby does hit the shot later in the series. Alan, you're right. I don't know why I felt the need to bring this up, but when I saw it, it felt like something that, obviously it's relevant here to Sacramento, but just anytime we're bringing back up that series and those feelings. Sometimes it's a Friday, Alan. We got to make sure you're feeling things.
That's right.
You know?
From the 5-3-0, I will forever blame Vlade for the assist on the Ori shot. That's from Doug
Christie. Must be. He didn't clarify, so I'm going to assume that's Doug Christie. I'm going to assume that's Doug Christie who texted that in. Doug Christie. I also blame Vlade for that. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. Like, because people will give him credit and say, that's actually the right basketball play. Get it out of there. Just get it out of there. Everybody's in the paint. Get it out of there. Or grab the rebound.
Yeah.
And I might have to rewatch the play. I obviously am not super keen on rewatching that play multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Might have to rewatch it to see if maybe it wasn't that easy. Maybe there was a crowd, but in a moment like that, it almost feels like in the most sick and twisted way. And I don't know why sports gods decided to hurt Sacramento like this, but when it plays out so perfectly like that, it's almost like it was destiny. It's almost like it was meant to be because of all the places on the floor for him to tip the ball to, for him to even make the decision to tip the ball, and then for it to tip just right into the shooting pocket. It was, do we want me to cry on air right now?
No, we don't.
It just couldn't have been any more perfectly drawn up for the most heartbreaking moment. It just had, it's a storybook thing. Like, you got the big California city against the Cowtown, smaller little brother. Little brother definitely is punching up in their weight class and doesn't have the star power that the big club does. And, they have Phil Jackson, who's the Jordan coach. They got Kobe, who's the next young gun. They got Shaq, who was the biggest free agent signing, who's bringing the Lakers back to prominence. And you got Big Shot Bob, who's there to do exactly what he did and hit a big shot. It's just the sickest, cruelest fate. But again, I will say, at least it meant something to Bob. I think at some point here, someone on this station will have to have him on, and I think it could be a really good conversation. I know Jason Ross has talked to him. He was working on during the pandemic. Actually, it's a shame it's never going to come to light. They were working on a audio documentary essentially based on the 2000s Kings-Lakers rivalry. And I believe Jason or Deuce talked with Robert for a good extended period of time and got his thoughts on the shot. But just absolutely brutal. And I do hope that at some point here, it doesn't hurt as much as clearly it still does. What is this, 23 years later?
Yeah.
And I was just a kid. And maybe in a weird way, I do think being a kid might have been more traumatizing because that was kind of like my flashpoint. Mm. That is probably one of the earliest memories I have, unfortunately, is of that shot. But yeah, I can't imagine what it must have been like if I were my age right now and I'm like, oh my God, things are setting up perfectly. I'm in my 20s. Mm-hmm. My favorite team is about to be up 3-1 and go to the NBA Finals. I can't imagine where my emotions would be and just how crushed I would be. And then to have the Kings do what they do the next 20 plus years. Just a crazy moment in not just Kings history, but honestly in sports history that probably doesn't get the credit it deserves as just a massive, massive moment in sports.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
That was tough.
Yeah, I know. And I'm glad you got that out. You know what is crazy though? It is crazy when stuff like that happens and you think, how many times in sports has somebody done something like that, but then not finish the job? Because there are situations where you think, oh, it's fate, and then they don't finish the job.
Right, yeah.
Kawhi Leonard, obviously, he makes the shot, and the Raptors finish the job.
Right.
But there are situations, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not trying to, make Nate feel bad, but when the fluke to Ayuk happened, I thought.
Just watched it.
Yeah, they're replaying it here. I honestly thought when that happened, okay, this is the Niners' year.
Yeah.
Right? This is the Niners' year. The other thing, and this is going to be a bit random, and I know there was somebody on the SAC chat saying, don't talk bad about Gonzaga. When Jalen Suggs made that half-court shot,
oh my God,
I thought, okay,
moment.
They're finally going to do it, and they go on to still lose they go on to still lose the national championship.
Right.
So there are some times where you think, oh, it's fate, and if the fate doesn't finish, and I don't know
worse.
If you're on the other side of that, if you're a Lions fan and the fluke to Ayuk happens, at that point, would you rather them win, right?
So.
If you're the Sixers and that Kawhi shot happens, would you rather, hey, we lost to fate? At least you can say we lost to fate.
Exactly.
I can't remember who Gonzaga beat in that game. Was it Michigan or somebody like? Or
UCLA was in the championship.
Right, and it was, hey, if we get this done, or I think it was UCLA because UCLA doesn't have a championship.
That's right. Yeah, actually, it was UCLA.
To beat UCLA,
yes.
And then you go on to the national championship. And then you go on to lose. This is from the 916. Vlade gets a magic genie to grant him one do-over between the tip and drafting Marvin Bagley.
Oh, my God.
Which does he reverse?
He's reversing the tip, unfortunately.
It's got to be the tip.
Yeah, I would rather him reverse the Marvin situation, but definitely for selfish reasons, I guarantee it's the tip for sure. And again, but you could definitely argue that it probably, the tip might be more beneficial for the Kings in the long run. Like I said, I mean, I think there is a huge what if universe where they win that championship. The Maloofs don't go broke as quickly as they did, or maybe they are more invigorated to keep the team in Sacramento and build a stadium because now they're a champion and getting a ton more money and all that stuff. There's a lot of different things that could have happened if that series goes differently. And I mean, if Vlade just straight up doesn't tip it, I'm sure he definitely would like to have those what I assume sleepless nights back, because that's another thing is I cannot imagine the heartbreak. And honestly, I probably should be a little bit more sympathetic to it, but I can't imagine living with that. Like to be that close and to kind of not be able to, of course, coaches will say, oh, no, we did not lose the play on that tip ball. We had plenty of turnovers and missed shots and everything. But to feel that and you can't tell me nothing. Like, that's my bad. That's on me. This entire season ended up coming down to just a simple decision. And I mean, I'm not blaming him for it because I do think there is definitely semblances of that was the right play to make. But I can't imagine the amount of sleepless nights that he's had, not just immediately after, but I'm sure he thinks about it every couple years and it just flashes in his mind like a bad war memory.
Well, the difference is the Kings haven't gotten back, right? You talk about the Cubs and the Red Sox. Yeah. They took them a while, but they avenged.
Get that monkey off your back.
Right. The Kings have not avenged. And I would say that's why I wouldn't even put the Spurs into the same category, even though the Ray Allen shot was crazy. The Spurs have championships.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
So even though I don't think the Spurs won one.
They won one the year after.
They won one the year after.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so
they got their quick get back.
They got their quick get back, but if you never did, the Sixers on the other side of the shot from Kawhi and teams like that,
right.
I would say I wouldn't even put Rory in that conversation because at least, if I'm not mistaken, that wasn't the Masters. That's the one Rory is still trying to get them. If that was on the Masters, that would be even worse for Rory, but it wasn't on the Masters.
I believe it was the U.S. Open.
Yes,
right.
so I wouldn't put Rory in that category either.
What about OKC blowing the 3-1? Against
those are different because
it's
a slow burn. It's game after game after game.
Yeah,
you could put it there because they haven't won anything.
Yeah, it just ended everything.
Game 6
right there.
Play, maybe specifically you feel bad about.
Yeah, 9-1-6 Bibby game winner the very next game though, and we lost Game 7 at home.
Yeah, exactly. Then that's why it's tough to singularly blame that moment because much like the San Antonio shot, they had another game after to try and make up for that moment where Ray Allen misses the shot. But I mean, at that point, you just feel so dejected. Like the Kings, again, like they were as close as you can get to being 3-1 going back home for that game 5. And then you go into a 2-2 series. I mean, like you said, Bibby does hit the game winner the very next game, and you go up 3-2. But, it felt like there's just nothing like feeling you have the game in hand, you have a series in hand, and then to watch it slip away, it's just really tough to gain that level of comfort back. And, they clearly started to feel the pressure in that game 7, and they missed every free throw they could have taken. And, I think a part of it was, you have a window of opportunity, and sometimes that window slams shut and you can't reopen it. And I do think maybe that's a convenient excuse with hindsight being 2020, but it does feel like those moments are really tough to come back from emotionally. Not necessarily, of course, you're going to go out there, you're going to play a game, and you're still going to have the same stars you have, but emotionally it's so tough to get back to the place where you're at that level of confidence. And big shots like that they're just killers. Like you cannot get over moments like those.
Coming up next, it is possible that we are about to say goodbye to one of the classic sports shows. We'll tell you which show that is when we return. And at 1:30, we announce our number 1 QBs. Maybe you know who it is, maybe you don't. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Chad, what you doing for Chrysler's Make This the Summer sales event?
Well, this month we have something special that only happens once a year. Big savings on one of America's most capable minivans. Right now you can save up to $17,000 off MSRP on all remaining 23 Chrysler Pacifica hybrids, and that's on all trims.
Now, you said Chrysler Pacifica hybrids. Those things get 82 miles per gallon E with gas prices so high and $17,000 off MSRP. That's a no-brainer.
And a deal like this only happens once a year. So this is the time to take advantage of this savings at the dealership and at the pump.
The savings won't last long. Stop by Hoblet Dodge for a test drive today or search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
17,000 total net savings after 7,500 factory rebates and 9,500 dealer discounts. Rebates include 7,500 federal EV tax credit offered by a third party and subject to change. Consult a tax professional for details and eligibility. 82 MPGE combined city highway rating based on fueleconomy.gov EPA rating. Send at this net savings while supplies last. See dealer for details.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Seconds, we will get into what classic show could be coming to an end. Also, ESPN and what they're going to get from the NBA besides a lawsuit coming to the NBA. From the 916, Chris, I rarely disagree with you guys. This is following up on our What Are We Doing? I rarely disagree with you guys, but this time I'm going to. First of all, Patrick Mahomes got smacked by the Raiders and cried during the game because Max Crosby kept sacking his butt. Second of all, Vlade is still loved by the Sacramento community, at least until he didn't pick Luka. Okay.
Yeah, that second part's a little confusing.
Yeah, the second part is a little bit confusing.
Very confusing.
The first part also confusing because, I mean, that last game was at Christmas when they beat the Chiefs, but
they're still 10-2 all time.
Look, maybe the Raiders beat the Chiefs coming up, and we say, oh, I guess that Kermit thing was nothing. But I wouldn't poke the bear. Yeah. I wouldn't poke the Super Bowl winning quarterback who a lot of people think is going to be the best of all time. But I'm not really sure what you're disagreeing with us about. You're okay with the Raiders poking the bear? Or I mean, there's no roast there.
No, yeah, I'm super confused.
You always go in on Niner fans, Alan. Let's get some Raiders fans for once, huh? This seems to be typical Raider fan mentality, is it not?
I do.
So I think maybe get them a little bit, right?
I do get at Raider fans.
Okay.
I'm an equal opportunist.
No.
We talk about the Niners more.
Yeah,
because we're the
do.
Sacramento affiliate.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's a softball for Raiders fans, and you're not taking it, and that's okay.
But I'm trying to figure out what exactly they're disagreeing with us about. They don't. I guess they're saying it's not. Are you saying it's not a big deal? Do you like it? I mean, the Raiders
feels a little delusional to not just admit that the Chiefs
even
if it's not in a one-on-one situation, like the Chiefs are so clearly dominant.
They're
over
10. He's 10-2.
Try and be
the last one of those two was this last game.
Right.
So again, the Raiders, they didn't bring the Kermit Frog, but you're wearing it. In this day and age, this stuff is going to go viral. Now 100%. Antonio Pierce, who's trying to prove himself as a head coach, he's got to answer these stupid questions.
Right.
You're fighting between AOC and Gardner Minshew. Yeah, if you're disagreeing, what are you disagreeing with us about? That it's a bad look? Okay, is that better, Nate?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay. All right, there you go.
Got to start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. Like I said, I'm an equal opportunist, but shout out the 916. And as far as Vlade is concerned, he was still loved, I guess, because that was the best Kings, had done in a very, very long time. But yeah, he kind of salted all that when he didn't pick Luka. And next thing you know, fast forward to this season, you have Luka destroying the season by flopping his big self on Malik Monk. And then he ends the game with some game-winning free throws and starts pointing at Vlade in the stands. He should have drafted me. Chris, that was one of the most and nobody really talked about it in the national landscape. That might have been one of the most disrespectful things that I saw live from a football or from a basketball standpoint, maybe ever.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Maybe ever.
Nobody calls out GMs like that. I mean, not GMs. You'll hear players call out players, maybe players upset at ownerships or players upset at fans, but you don't see players calling out GMs specifically and saying, no, that guy's a bum. He's an idiot for not drafting me. And pointing at them, calling them.
And he just wore it.
What else are you going to do?
No, there's nothing. You lost your job.
You could do.
You lost your job.
Yeah, 100%.
They took our job.
Directly
you lost your job.
Because of that.
That's right.
Too.
That's right. You're in the stands right now.
Yes.
Because of that decision.
Yes, 100%.
There you go.
Well, it was disrespectful, but it was also kind of earned.
That was a little bit more than 30 seconds, but Nate wanted me to get at the Raider fans. ESPN's Around the Horn could be coming to an end. This is per the New York Post. The buzzer could be sounding in the distance for Around the Horn, the daily ESPN sports talk show, which debuted in 2002, is facing an uncertain long-term future. The Post has learned several sources believe that the show will come to an end on ESPN before the 2025 football season. Can I just say I love this job, but my dream job or one of my dream jobs, you know what I'm going to say, Nate. If I was Tony Reale, I mean, what a great gig.
Yeah.
What a great gig. Mute people.
I mean, Nate kind of can be
I get to do all the talking. I get the final say. Did Nate just mute me?
He did, yeah.
That was very, very weird feeling. I've never felt that before.
Yeah, you had to. I'm sorry. It was too good.
It was
again,
too good.
Softball.
Maybe in honor of Around the Horn, we'll do an Around the Horn type game one of these days. Did you guys grow up on Around the Horn? Because I did the back-to-back Around the Horn PTI.
I was a late bloomer to Around the Horn. I was always PTI. I was always be PTI. But
so you would skip around because Around the Horn came on first.
Yeah, no, I would.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was also in the early days of TiVo and DVR, and so I would record PTI and only catch the tail end of Around the Horn or the beginning. You said it would go before. So yeah, I would catch the tail end of it. And then I don't know what happened. Eventually I just kind of started to link into it. And, they used to post videos, and I don't know why this is kind of what attracted me, but they would post the behind the scenes videos of what would go on during the breaks. And it would just be, Bill Plaschke.
Right. It's like a green screen.
It's just great. I mean, it's just them bantering, joking. And, I just kind of never understood the concept of the show either, which is part of it. You don't understand the point system and what leads to what. And after a while, when you understand it, it's all pointless.
Yes.
In terms of the scoring
how many
system.
wins?
Yeah, all of it is just a vehicle to keep the show going. It's great. I love it, and I definitely loved how they would bring some of the best sports writers, not just Stephen A. Smiths of the world and people who have takes. No, people who actually write in length and are real journalists would be on the show, and it just really felt like it was a great great way of getting a pulse of the nation, because it wasn't just New York people. It wasn't just LA people. You had people in, Denver, Colorado.
Boston.
You had Miami. You had Boston. You had pretty much everywhere represented on the show. I always just thought it was a really good, smart show. And I think that's the tough part about,
I think
especially
Bomani
nowadays.
was on there back in the day.
He was on it on
Clayton
occasion
Yates,
for sure.
guys
Used
like
to
that.
have Michael Smith would be on there pretty often.
Mina Kimes is on all the time.
I was going to say it was a bit of a launch pad for some of the talent on ESPN. With all that being said, guys, I just think with streaming and whenever questions like this come up, it's always, I would say, due to ratings. And I would say that, okay, you come home. I don't know how many kids these days are coming home from school, firing up ESPN at 3:00. I don't know. I just think it's a different time now. And with that being said, it was a good run. And it's not just about that. You have Skip Bayless about to move on. And I guess First Take is still doing well, but Undisputed took a bit of a nosedive after they moved on from Shannon Sharp. So I just think people are just doing things or listening to things more on demand. And like you said, that show is so random. Yeah. I think it's seen its day and it was a good run, but I don't think ESPN needs it moving forward. As sad as I still watch it.
Content that they make anymore.
I still watch it, but objectively, as looking at it from the lens of a bigwig in ESPN, you're probably looking at the ratings, thinking, I mean, 2002 to now, over 20 years, that's a good run.
It's a great run.
That's a good run.
Phenomenal run.
Yeah,
and
it's
had multiple thousand.
What they replace it with, who knows? I mean, PTI, I think that's another one. They wouldn't replace those guys. I think they would just sunset it as well. And there you have it. So was that your favorite sports show?
I think it was PTI. It was probably PTI. Yeah. I mean, just every day it was so good. You get the scroll on the side where you can tell what topics are coming up. It was just perfect. They have fun. They make the segments lighthearted. It felt like things that people actually talk about.
They got away, ESPN did, for over 20 years running two shows back to back that essentially talked about the same exact thing.
Yep.
They would run the same
vibe.
Topics. Right, just in two different ways. It was like Taco Bell. Yeah, people say Taco Bell has the same 4 ingredients. They just do them 18 different ways. That was ESPN for 20 plus years. They pulled that off. So shout out to Around the Horn. If it is done, maybe it isn't. And I thought Tony Reale had moved into like an ABC role as well. But whatever he does next, I'm sure he will be successful. Coming up next, who will be successful in having the best QB list? I'm pretty sure it's myself. But we will go through all of them as we reveal our number one, and we battle it out and decide who has the best QB list. And we want you to be a part of it. 916-339-1140. Who's got the best QB list between Chris, Nate, and myself? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
A handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I'm a very active person that likes to move around and go. The pain I was in was really excruciating. It was actually debilitating. I was basically heading towards a sedentary lifestyle. I had really tried everything, but I quickly lost hope with all of the things that we had tried, and that's what led me to the Good Feet store. And when I found the Good Feet system, it really just changed everything. It brought me back to life. I have my active lifestyle back.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville. Summer is finally here, and so are all the best deals on DeWalt power tools at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet in Sacramento. Drills, impacts, circular saws, you name it, we have it for the best price in town, guaranteed. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned tradesman, we've got all the DeWalt products you need to crush your next project. So come on down to Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet today on Power and Road for better tools and better prices. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
Carmichael Dave here for Capital Casino. Sacramento Summertime Heat is back. And of course, Cap Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, wants to invite everyone to soak up some air conditioning, still with the most variety of table games in the region. And as always, the best food, best service, and the best action, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. Capital Casino, of course, reminding everyone to please make sure you gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Jason Mraz and the Super Band live. The mystical, magical, rhythmical, radical ride. Friday, August 9th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Jason Mraz and the Super Band with special guest Molly Miller Trio. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Jason Mraz and the Super Band in concert. Pick up the new album, Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride.
Live and local. Live and local. This is Sacktown Sports.
145, we have shout-outs and closeouts. Also a report from Nate, who was boots on the ground for the training camp for the Niners. And I am very curious what Nate has to say about one Brock Purdy. I want to know if he's as yoked as everybody is saying. That's coming up at 145. And get in your shout-outs and closeouts, 916-339-1140. That's coming up in about 15 minutes. Text line, call line, and, of course, section. But first, let's get spicy here. Just like Friday Fun and Games, where the two Chris's almost did battle like this horse in full armor for the Olympic opening ceremony. Okay, Nate, I'm handing the reins over to you. You don't have to mute me. I'll just stop talking.
Okay. All right. So basically, we spent the last 10 business days doing a power rankings of quarterbacks we would want on our team going forward. Basically, who we think the top 10 quarterbacks are right now in the league. That's pretty much how we decided this. We went through it every day, and we started doing one day at a time. We had to bump them up because of schedule issues, but we've made it to number one today. We figured it'd be a little boring because we all have the same number one, right? If you don't have Mahomes as number one, it's a little silly.
Right.
But I figured we go through our list today, maybe argue who has the best list. I mean, maybe we can tweet these out. I think we had this idea. Maybe
That's right.
We can tweet out and kind of see what everyone thinks. But I also want to get into who we think the most overrated quarterback is and who essentially the worst quarterback is. And that's going to be, you qualify by being a starting quarterback. So it can't be like the third string guy in Miami or something. It's got to be a starting quarterback. Who's that guy you just do not want on your team no matter what? So I'll drop my phone. I'll go through my list right now. We'll probably just all go through our top 10 lists and then give our overrated and the worst quarterback in the league. So at 10, I had Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Brock the Rock Purdy, CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Chris, you have your list?
Yeah. My list is number 10, Aaron Rodgers, number 9, Brock Purdy, number 8, Matt Stafford, number 7, Justin Herbert, number 6, Dakota Prescott, number 5, Joe Burrow, number 4, CJ Stroud, number 3, Josh Allen, number 2, Lamar Jackson. And are we doing one yet, Nate? I'm sorry, I didn't hear if you.
Yeah, we all
number
the
one
same
is
one.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Alan?
And now time for the best list, so the list that makes the most sense. Number 10, Dak Prescott. Number 9, Matthew Stafford. Number 8, Justin Herbert. Number 7, Brock Purdy. Number 6, CJ Stroud. Number 5, Aaron Rodgers. Number 4, Joe Burrow. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. Number 1, Patty Kermit Mahomes.
And Chris, you had Brock at 8?
I had Brock at 9.
9. You know, I'm glad we're all smart enough to know he belongs in the top 10.
We don't have to do this.
I just want that to know, you know.
We don't have to do this.
Okay, I just
We don't have
gotta
the top
check.
5.
So I will give my worst quarterback in the league, I believe, starting going into this year. And I mean, he's starting. He'll get his job back after the injury, presumably. But it's Danny Dimes, dude. I genuinely think that is like the worst case scenario. The dude last year, the previous year when he got paid, he only had 15 passing touchdowns and 5 interceptions. That's 3-1. That's great, but he's not throwing the ball. He doesn't have a running back anymore. That team is horrible. I know it's more about the individual, but he has never, ever, ever impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think, you can say like Bryce Young and stuff like that. I think that's the worst quarterback in the league.
Yeah, he's not good.
No,
he's not. I just, you know what the thing is, if you're not good, the other question is, what is your shtick? What is Daniel Jones good at? Right?
Falling over.
Running full speed that one time. I just don't know what he's supposed to be good at.
Yeah.
So
I
think you're pretty much spot on there. I think it's a toss up for me between Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, and
Will Levis.
The Commanders are rolling out. I mean, they could roll out Marcus Mariota. They drafted Jaden Daniels, so I don't think that's going to be the case. But the one for sure, I mean, let's not forget who's worse, though. Daniel Jones or Derek Carr. And I thought Derek Carr was going to go. We haven't done our hot takes yet. I thought Derek Carr was going to go to New Orleans and cook. I really did.
Yeah.
Bad division, good weather. You're in a dome. Derek Carr was terrible. Terrible.
Injuries were a big issue, but yeah, you're totally right. He was shocking.
You want Derek Carr over Daniel Jones?
Yes, because I know Derek Carr can throw the football. That's it. I mean, that's it. It's not. It's pretty simple for me. Yeah, I guess.
I might say Derek Carr is the worst.
Honestly,
the worst that he's going to start.
So, and then the injuries Daniel Jones has had too are his neck and his ACL. Yes, so it's.
I think, and I really hate to do this, but it might be Derek Carr. He really let me down last season.
He was really bad last year.
He really let me down.
That division is terrible.
It's a bad. You had Bryce Young. You had a W.
That division is crazy. You had Desmond Ritter, Bryce Young, and
Baker.
And Baker.
They got Baker.
Yeah.
They got Baker paid.
Yeah.
Paid.
Yeah.
Paid.
You know, I think he deserved it.
Chris?
My answer is whoever's starting for the Broncos. Whether it be Jarrett Stidham, whether it be Bo Nix, or whether it be, let's not forget, Zach Wilson is in that quarterback room too. I mean, can you just choose none of them? Is that possible? Nate, you were just talking. Can the Raiders get a shout out here?
Oh,
Aiden O'Connell?
No.
What are we talking about?
No. Gardner Minshew is better.
Aiden O'Connell couldn't beat out Josh Dobbs in a quarterback battle to 3 points.
Chris, hold on now. Hold a minute. Hold on.
I hate it when he says my name.
Hold on now.
Chris Watkins.
No, Chris, you're not going to tell me that Gardner Minshew.
I didn't say Gardner Minshew.
He's not the starter.
He is the starter.
Is he? Are we sure? Because Devontae Adams is talking about AFC.
You're taking Daniel Jones over Aiden O'Connell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're taking.
I saw
Aiden
Daniel
O'Connell.
Jones beat my team in a playoff game,
then fine.
regardless.
You're taking.
I don't know.
But we don't know who's starting there. We're supposed to go with the first for sure starters.
Yeah. But you're the one who brought up the Raiders.
I didn't bring up the Raiders.
I did.
Oh, my bad.
I'm taking Aiden O'Connell. I'm taking him over Derek Carr. I'm taking Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell over Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I'm not.
He ran Derek Carr out of Vegas.
I don't know.
He was there when he
happened.
left Vegas. I don't know if he ran him out.
And
of
I don't know
Vegas.
what they're doing in Denver. So really, this conversation is worst quarterback situation. That's what this conversation is becoming.
That's how bad the quarterback is that there's an open competition. If your quarterback, like Daniel Jones, there is no competition because, it's not because he's great, but it's because they decided, even these scrap quarterbacks aren't as good as the option we have now. Zach Wilson is a terrible quarterback.
He's bad.
And he's in the conversation for that starting job. I think Gardner Minshew, I've said he's an average quarterback. He can be fine, but Aiden O'Connell starting, Aiden O'Connell is definitely in the race for me to be. He's from 30 to 32. I'll tell you that. I had to watch that man have a shootout to 3 points.
But Chris, that was one game.
Well, then what are the good games?
Okay,
because he had that Niner game.
No. He threw a pick against
Ward is
Miami.
coming in. Bo Nix is the next Drew Brees. And
What?
watch out for their wide receiver.
Can we turn
Franklin.
off that, Mike? What?
Watch out for their wide receiver Franklin. They are about to be Jordan Pippen. Okay, Ward.
All right.
Ward.
We might go.
Ward.
Put him on timeout.
Okay.
That.
From the 916, I don't even want to read this.
What?
If Chris bumps Rodgers off and puts Dak at 10, then flips Brock and Stafford,
How
his
does this
list
keep
is
happening?
perfect. No, his list's not perfect.
Wait.
Allen's list is already
If
perfect.
Chris bumps Rodgers and puts Dak at 10.
You can't. You're not.
Where's-
916 doesn't want Rodgers on the
I had
list.
Rodgers at 10 and I had Dak at 6.
Where's Stafford
so
on
they're
your
saying,
list?
but then someone would have to be added to the list. But thank you. I appreciate you saying
No,
my list
thank
is
you,
perfect.
916.
Thank you.
Allen
Well,
has
right
the
now the
perfect
polls
list.
have me in first. So
Right now the polls have
That's
Bo
true.
Nix.
The polls lie sometimes.
831. No way AOC leads the Raiders to anything. But that's not the question. That's not the Spencer Rattler is going to beat out Derek Carr.
That's not.
Mark
that's
my words.
Just not happening.
It is.
So wait,
But
Chris,
they're
you
not
want
even
the
in a
Carolina
competi-
Reaper
It
again?
might happen, but it's not. They're not in competition right now. So Rattler can't be or I guess you're saying.
No, I'm
more
just saying
Derek
that's how
Carr.
bad Derek Carr is.
we all have different answers. Then I'm Daniel Jones. You're
Yeah.
Derek Carr, which is kind of crazy coming from Raiders fans.
I want
and then,
because he let me down last season.
and then as on the Saints.
I think my official answer is whatever the Broncos are
Yeah,
doing.
good.
But I just
Okay.
also
You better
want
be
to
careful.
give a
Just
very,
acknowledge the
very
Raiders.
big shout.
No,
to
but
what
you
the
don't have to
Raiders
do
have
that though.
You just did.
No, but you
Why
don't
not?
have to do that,
But
though.
you didn't
No,
give just
no.
one example.
Yes, I did.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you gave 2.
Well, I said there are a couple.
Well, I
But
mean,
I'm not
Derek
giving-
Carr was
I'm not-
also like your
No,
third
but Chris,
answer.
but you're essentially saying who else did I say?
I don't know, but what is wrong with what I said?
Because you're coming down the Raiders
You said
road.
Daniel
Okay.
Jones was right on the money, and then you went Derek Carr.
Yes.
So that's what you. So
Yes,
you
thank you.
you built
Thank you.
upon mine and said it was a lock, and
Yes.
then you went to Derek Carr because you're so disappointed in him.
Yeah, because I am disappointed in him.
I don't know what you're mad at me for.
I'm not mad. Nobody's
Kinda
mad.
sounded that.
Nobody's mad. This isn't Friday Fun and Games. Christopher Live
All right.
versus Chris Watkins. Coming up next, we talk about a team that has a good QB situation. Some would say great. It's Nate and his Niners report from training camp. Then, shout-outs and closeouts. Get them in right now, 916-339-1140. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
If you're not looking for a brand new car, at Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. We've kept only the best of our trades, and our buyer has found some of the finest pre-owned Hondas available in Northern California. You can see for yourself at elkgrovehonda.com. Whether you purchase a brand new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, your car buying experience will be the same. We have the right Honda at the right price. You'll find us in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda. Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Whitey here reminding you that not all gas grills are created equal. Bring out all the delicious flavors in your grilled meats with the amazing Napoleon Prestige and Prestige Pro line of outdoor cookers. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro with features other grills cannot match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Made with premium stainless steel that boasts quality and a lifetime warranty. I may never want to cook indoors again. Napoleon grills and accessories are now available at your nearby Amy's, Ace Hardware in Sacramento, and now El Dorado.
It's been said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And when it comes to a nice, cool summer, it's so true. Right now, get a complete air conditioner tune-up for just $59. Bonnie. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696355.
Sacktown Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
A lot of people having fun with a picture/video of LeBron holding the flag on the boat. They're comparing it to some very historical pictures, so go check that out.
Washington in the Delaware.
Yes, social media. So they're having a lot of fun with that. Nate, I know you wanted to, and we're going to get to Nate's report from training camp. But Nate, I know you, and so we'll do this very quickly because we did want to mention the most overrated quarterback.
Yeah.
And the 916 says, this guy's on all of your lists, and I think he is overrated. Josh Allen, the definition of hero ball. I will go quickly to start. My answer is Justin Herbert. I think he's overrated right now. Chris?
Yeah, I think Justin Herbert's a good shout. Dang. You know what? I'm not going to give any explanation. Can I just be spicy and drop it? I'm going to say Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, it was all. Was he your number 2 or
he was my number 2?
Yeah, me too. Josh Allen, completely agree with. My 6 on the list. Justin Herbert, completely agree with. Dak Prescott, right on there too. I know he gets a lot of hate because he's in Dallas. All 3 of those guys, but number 1, it's a boring answer, but Josh Allen. This is overrated.
Yeah.
It's a boring answer.
You
But
just listed 5 players.
Yeah.
I think they're all
5
and they're
top
on your
10
list
players
besides
all
Dak.
overrated.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this every day. The list. The NFL is super weird with quarterbacks now.
That's what Tom Brady said, and people thought he was hating, but maybe he wasn't. Okay.
Goats are never wrong.
That's right. All right, Nate, before we get to shout-outs and closeouts,
started the music early.
You can just ride it out then. Give us some of your reports from Niners training camp. I was looking at what Nick Wagner had to say. A lot of guys kind of chilled today. Not everybody played. And I do want to know what's the deal with Brock Purdy and his yokeness. Is he quad Purdy? Is he that much bigger?
So they've always called him quad Purdy or whatever, baby Bosa.
Baby Bosa, yeah.
So I never seen it before. It's really funny you brought that up. I was staring at his quads for a while yesterday, trying to be like, okay. And then, they're pretty big. They're big. He's got big quads for sure.
The other thing I saw, Matt Mayoko essentially said, and I'm not trying to be cynical Allen here.
Okay.
But I'm saying the ball has a bit more oomph. Can you confirm or deny?
I can't either. He looked like Brock Purdy. Here's what I can say.
Okay.
Brock looked good. Josh Dobbs did not look good. Sorry, Chris.
I don't have to apologize to me.
He's a gamer. He's not really
Emil.
He's not a practice QB though.
I hope I'm not outing Emil here, but we were conversating yesterday because we went together, and he was like, he kind of doesn't think Josh Dobbs is going to make the team. So I hope I wasn't supposed to, out Emil on that, but I feel similar. There's this other dude, Tanner Mordecai, who I mentioned in the break. He's it's so weird. He wears number 4 like Jake Moody, and I kept thinking it was him. He looks just like him in the helmet. It was.
He's been around. He's bounced around.
Yeah,
right?
he has.
Yeah.
The Niners do this weird thing too. I don't know how weird it is, but all the superstars are kind of off on their own, doing their own thing.
Okay.
They're like one-on-one with coaches, and like Fred Warner's kind of just off standing to the side. George Kittle's got his own coach. So that's a little weird to me, I guess. But I saw Ricky Pearsall running sprints, hardcore. People were shouting at him. People seem really excited. Kittle called him Pickle Rick. Class Chris, I bet you think that's really funny.
That's
the
hilarious.
biggest thing
Sick
that
reference, bro.
stuck out to me was this offensive line is in big trouble if they don't get Trent Williams back. And I know it's like essentially touch football, but they're running. You can't take photos or videos during their 11 on 11. You get a 20-minute window to do photos and videos pretty much. Or maybe it's a bit more, but they're running this 11 on 11 scrimmage practically. Bosa's getting every single time. He's playing on Trent Williams' side. He's getting a Brock every single time, but you just touch him and Brock still makes the throw. It's kind of – so the Trent Williams thing's worrying me a bit. We had John Lynch and Brandon Ayuk. Did you guys see this report yesterday?
No.
They were
they hanging out? Yes.
Standing in the back of the end zone,
yes.
chatting it up for 20 minutes about watching practice. Kind of weird, but he was out there, so I think that's a good sign.
Right.
If you think Brandon Ayuk staying with the Niners is good. That's kind of where I'm at. I had a lot of content to put out yesterday. I was working pretty hard, but
Wow.
I love doing it. That's kind of where I'm at. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody is anxiously awaiting the football season, and it's right around the corner. This is from Nick Wagner. Appear to just be rest days for Ward, McCaffrey, Brendel, Kittle, Bosa, and Collins. Unclear why Cowing, Burford, and Feliciano were not practicing. It was a short and quick practice following a couple full days, which is usually the rhythm of these camps. We'll look forward to seeing what happens next. Rookie wide receiver Ricky Pearsall again did some running on the side. He appears to be closer to full strength. The target for him is to return on Monday, and it seems like he is on schedule. Here you go, Nate. Josh Dobbs looked a bit more comfortable than the past couple of days, though he had a rough sequence late in practice in which he missed an easy check down to Schrader and had a pass batted down by Shaquille Brown. Jake Moody missed his first kick of this camp, setting a 46-yard attempt wide left. He followed by converting from 51 yards, an earlier hit from 38 and 43 yards. He's 11 of 12 in this camp so far.
Yeah, I think next week we need to have a serious conversation about Jake Moody because it was brought up on this show.
Yeah.
I believe that no one's talking about it. I think we need to get into this Jake Moody situation.
It's all we talked about last offseason.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it needs to still be talked about because it's a huge problem that I'm not hearing anything about. He's always great in practice, but whatever.
Well, yeah, 11 of 12, pretty
Who
good.
cares?
Pretty
Yeah.
good there. Before we get into shout-outs and closeouts, guys, we have a nice shout from the 707. Tells us to have a good weekend. DC from the 707. Who's everyone's first out in their top 10?
Everyone's first out?
Yes, number 11.
Oh.
Pretty much.
Oh, I have no idea.
I'm just going to go Jared Goff.
Yeah.
No.
I think I'm going to go Herbert.
Nate's list is a little easier than everybody else's to come up with the 11. I don't really have an answer for mine. I just kind of came up with our 10.
Trevor Lawrence, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Trevor Lawrence.
All right.
I think I said earlier, Kirk Cousins. If we talk about how, if nobody is concerned, if we all have Aaron Rodgers in our top 10 list, I think Kirk Cousins was a top 10 quarterback before he tore his Achilles. So I guess I would probably have him at 11 or near it.
Yeah.
There's Tua as well, who just got the bag. Obviously,
Jalen Hurts for you guys.
Yeah,
he's close.
He's
I mean,
that's
that
probably 11. Yeah.
10 to 13 or 11 to 13, 11 to 14.
Yeah,
that's pretty much
up in the air.
Yeah, that's pretty much it is. It is what it is. So yeah, the list is complete. We only have one vote so far on the text line, but we all
Close
know.
the polls.
No, don't do that.
Yeah,
We're running out of time. Sorry.
No, we aren't running out of time. They are running out of time for
Feels like
things.
we're running out of time.
They are running out of time for things to dry up.
I might put a graphic together, tweet it out. Would you guys
Fine. I think
retweet
we
it?
already got our results.
Oh, okay.
I really feel like we are settled on the results. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Interesting.
know. It's interesting.
So we
Very
gotta do some
interesting.
shout outs then.
Another trade real quick for Major League Baseball. The Orioles receive right-handed starter Zach Eflin. The Tampa Bay Rays receive outfielder Matthew Etzel, right-handed pitcher Jackson Baumeister, and super utility man Mac Horvath. And somebody said that you should never do, not that you should never do deals, but the Rays are really good at getting prospects. So the Rays are essentially selling everything right now. They got rid of Randy Arozarena. They got rid of Zach Eflin. So keep an eye on who the Rays have received. They do a really good job when they do these deals of getting some really good prospects. They tend to hit on these guys. So we will keep that on our radar in a couple years because it's Major League Baseball. All right, some of the shout-outs and closeouts coming in so far. Manny, Too Legit, always says, great show and happy Friday. So happy Friday to you, Manny. Have a good weekend. This is from the 831. Shout out to you boys for always putting out a great product. Have a great weekend, fellas. You have a great weekend as well, 831. From the 916 UPS, Chris. Shout out to, now I'm going to get in trouble. We're going to get in trouble, Chris, if Simone's listening. Shout out to Mother Nature, 86 degrees tomorrow. Finally got a softball tournament out at the SAC complex, and it's going to be amazing. Have a good weekend,
Congrats
guys.
to Chris,
Yeah,
by the way.
well, maybe that was his shout out, by the way.
Congrats.
Maybe it was. Well, UPS Chris, hopefully you get a softball ring just like Chris did.
Radio Chris.
Last night. Radio Chris. Nate, what you got for us?
Shout outs?
Yes.
I'm just going to shout out our guy, friend of the station, I know, or member of the station. You guys were making fun of him earlier, Kyle Ledbetter.
That's right.
He's been gone for a bit.
Yeah.
He's coming back soon. Figuring some stuff out. I'm happy to have him back here.
Yeah.
Always really like Kyle, UC Davis graduate, so I doubt he's.
Well, yeah, just give us his
ads
resume.
gotta stay together. You know?
I doubt he's listening right now, but just shout out to my
Kyle.
man Kyle Ledbetter.
Yeah,
There you go.
absolutely. Do you want me to do the thing? I can do the whole thing.
What's the thing?
Shouting out. What like,
well, that's what you were
first,
probably. If you want to end it, you can end it.
It's just I just have a whole layout. For
Okay,
it,
then,
so it's
and
like,
I will go next.
I don't want to.
Yes,
cut your time off.
There you go.
You can definitely cut me off at any time, Nate.
I'm giving a shout out to the opening games for the Olympics or just the Olympics in general, because it comes around once every 4 years or once every 2 years if you count winter.
Nah, I don't.
And it's great stuff. I do think it unites us
For sure.
in some capacity, at least for that certain amount of time. And I'm really excited to see who balls out and watching this elite group of athletes do their thing.
Speaking of
Watkins.
an elite group of athletes, let me tell you about this scrappy softball squad that I got. I've been playing probably for a year and a half, 2 years, and we play on a certain day of the week, and we have had this team for 10 straight sessions win the championship. These people have been head and shoulders better than everybody. And, we're good. We are a good softball team, but these guys, there's not like beginner level and then advanced or anything like that. So it's just one pool where you'll get, frankly, that team has a lot of kids who probably played at Sac State and definitely has, I've told you before, the key in softball is actually the girls. The guys, for all intents and purposes, they're definitely guys who are better than others, but they pretty much even each other out. The girls is really where you make your mark. If you have good girls, you're going to be a really, really good team. And this team probably is stacked with Sac State girls. I saw all of this to say this is not some miracle story. This is not some bad news Bears situation. Right. That team left. They got 10 championships and they dipped. So it's not like we came and saw some
that's where this was
miracle
going.
story. No. That team dipped. It left an open window for the two teams that have been second and third perennially, whoever is going to be first loser. Frankly, I would say we were not the more athletic team. The other team is incredibly fast, but, we're gritty, man. We, last inning, sixth inning, we were up 2. Little sketchy. We had runners on first and second, no outs. Line drive straight at your boy. Got a double play.
Wow.
The runner off first, she is
Where were you playing?
Track speed. I was at shortstop because our everyday shortstop was on vacay this week. Terrible week to be gone. So I'm kind of the utility for the team. I played shortstop. The incredibly fast runner at first thought I wasn't going to get it, I guess, or something. She let off way too far. She fell trying to run back to first, got the double play, and as they say, the rest is history. 5-7 final, And our first ever championship.
Elite athleticism all around. Give it up for Chris Watkins and his team getting it done.
Super.
Getting that championship monkey off his back. And he did it before some of these guys in the NBA. Thank you to Nate, as always. Thank you to all the callers, the texters, the sack chatters. The Drive guys are up next. Whitey Gleason, College Roper. Until Monday, secure the bag like the bee.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the